Welcome, guys. We're back. I've known many of you were sort of asking for me to continue on with the game that we're playing of Shadow Empire, so we're back with it again today. Actually, I thought that I had played Shadow Empire after I had played Age of Wonders 4, because there's people have been asking for that as well. And so, but I actually, when I had a look at at the streams that I'd done, I had actually done them in the other order. So I'm going to be playing Shadow Empire today, and then possibly some Age of Wonders 4 over the weekend. So we'll sort of head that way. With it, let's just get into it. So we just got, and I'm just streaming at a later time than my normal time. It's actually Anzac Day here in Australia, so it's sort of like a holiday. It's raining like anything today, so I didn't actually. This is the first actual dawn service of Anzac Day that I haven't been to in feels like decades. It was just really. Really sort of unusual weather today. So, hi Klingstock, how are you going? Saying unexpected late stream. Yes, well, I've got the day off, so there we go. So, anyway, and Meneliki saying, hey Daz, Shadow Empire, excellent. Now, we've sort of we've just started a game, so we've got through the early part of it, and we're now just about to sort of move on from there. And I forget exactly what we're doing. Oh, hang on, we don't want to start a new game. What have I done? I'm so in the habit of just going and always starting a new game. Hi Tenru, how are you going? I'm going to say, oh, that answers my question. I was going to ask how the service was. It would have been pretty bad, actually. I feel pretty bad for them because, like, these are fairly old veterans and stuff that sort of go along, and they would have still gone along actually, but it would have been not fun for them, I don't think. So yeah, anyway, we'll continue on. Leggy's in saying, love Shadow Empires, but wish there was an option to not have to use card system for diplomacy. Even a simple, yeah, that's a good idea, actually. Even a simple total war style diplomacy system, don't think you should be limited by cards for that. You're right. Hang on, are you? Well, you've got to encourage the cards, I guess. So you encourage that through, this what you do. So you end up, like, I know what you mean, but I also now, when I think about it, I know what the game is doing as well. It's for really basic stuff, it shouldn't be card driven. It should just be make contact and sort of say hello or whatever you need to do. A bit like how you can bring in one of your own group whenever you feel like it. I wonder if there is actually. I hardly ever play diplomatically in this game, so I don't really know. I'll just go into this one here. We'll open this one up. We'll have a bit of a look and see, because I thought there was some really basic stuff you can do, but I may be getting that also confused with the maritime trade houses, where you can sort of go and do different things with them. Some of these factions we haven't actually met yet, so here we are at Deep Cron. Deep Cron is our city in the dunes, in the great sand dunes of the south, in this particular playthrough. We've got mutants over through this other side. We've got a group here which has been trying to be friendly with us, but we're close to its capital, and we now have a couple of tanks. So we are going to declare war in this session and then take that city once we establish ourselves. We've left a few gaps which we have to be careful of. The mutants don't move very, very quickly, and so they're not really going to be a big problem. But if we go and have a look at this group, for example, this is Devon Mount Empire. Yeah, you're right. All you can do is actually go and actually use the cards that you've got. Yeah, yep. With the majors and minors, yeah. So that's pretty much what you have. You don't actually have a way to go in and actually communicate with them. Whereas if I needed to bring in a new group, like at the moment we've only got one. If I just go into my reports and then call the secretary up and actually then go and bring in a new organisation there. So you'd sort of think that there should be something, unless maybe it's, again, I don't know if it's to do with the whoever's in, like whichever group's in charge of the diplomacy as such. If at the moment that would be under the leaders. If we have a quick look at the leaders, that would be our Director of Supreme Council, this one here. If I go and call him, no, it's only priorities. Yeah, that's okay. That's it for now. No, there's nothing there. Yeah, no, you're right. This would be cool if that was the case. Okay, so we're not at war with anyone. We're just holding back the tides. This group has become a little bit aggressive, moving in towards us. They do actually have another city there, which we'll be wanting to get as well. That'll be Queen's Bond. Actually, Queen's Bond. That's interesting. Queen's Bond, but there's a city there called Jupiter or something. We've sort of befriended this group into here. There's a confederation that's gone to peace with us. It's stolen our logo, so it's the Hannibal Etherdawn is the president of the Iron State. So Iron State is a confederation. This one here is warmongers, but they've actually been trying to be friendly with us, but I think we'll have to wipe them out. And then over through here, farmers. Actually, they're farmers. That's interesting. I thought that they were going to be more than that because they've actually been fairly aggressive in moving towards us. But I've got them contained there. I'll have to contain the mutants with these guys. So I'll just sort of move them out. So I'm using militia to try to sort of contain that edge of the map. Just make sure my sound is up. And so we've got still some groups. I'm going to move these up as well, just to move in with the actual with the force. So I'll move them away from the front. We'll move this one up across, just to put a masking area across the front of where the mutants are, which will then allow me to move up. These guys here we've only just got. So if we have a quick look at the tanks themselves, their readiness is only 50%. So we've got a couple of turns yet before they're ready to go. What we might do in this case is this particular group in through here has now been released. It's been released from its duty, but it can still have a really good look at things. So we're sort of seeing everything in through this other side. We are starting to see what these guys have got. These are rifle militia. So the important thing for us really is going to be their attack against soft targets. So hard attacks, hard defense. Actually, that's hard targets. This is their soft targets attack. 2651 is how they then operate. If we compare that to what we've got, just with our basic troops, these grunts, yeah, we're much, much better there. So our grunts are certainly able to do it. In fact, we've got the grunts along with machine guns. Machine guns defend incredibly well. So we'll just sort of leave them where they are. But then we've got the basic grunts up through this other side. There's another machine gun group there as well. Yes, for the 1st Infantry, we've got the 3rd Infantry down in here that we've just created as a machine gun group. So anyway, that's all sort of fine where that is. Yeah, the different groups we have. Again, we're going to be wanting to race through the middle here, I think, and sort of take this city as fast as we possibly can when we do get started. I'll be wanting to bring these up as well to fire on the city, so we'll just slowly move them up. Nothing else we can really do there. In terms of decisions, so Zonium found an unusual companion. This is Prudent Zonium, the commander of the 1st Began Infantry Brigade. She's pretty good, actually. She's a Cap 4. So we're going to be wanting to bring her out into something else at some point. Just exit that one there. So I want her on site. She's only rating at 60 at the moment. So requested to take a citizen with me on all my travels and works. There we are. So yes, allow it. So pretty much everyone's behind this. So yep, that's not a problem. So in you go. So what was the starting tech of this campaign? 4. So the middle one. So middle tech, just so we ended up with getting a bit of a start. And that's what Benry was asking. And Mule is in saying, what is musician band good for? Musician bands are good for, in fact, we're not going to be able to see it there. So I'll just bring this one up. So we leave this one where that is. If we go to the management screen, go to the profiles, musical bands, where are they? Pillage. here they are, down here. Musical band. The musical band inspires and consoles the troops it is embedded with. Every combat round, you regain up to 15 lost morale points. So in combat, it keeps you in combat longer. So essentially, instead of you breaking, so this is heart. So with heart, you end up getting once you come into this profile and through here, you do unlock them as so unlock stratagem. So that one's then we've got joint struggle. Then we've got over through here a flag bearer. So this one, the troops it's embedded with ignore startup attack penalties. Okay, that's interesting. So that means you rush into combat faster. So depending on what you're then choosing, like this one, logical thought, you've got the engineer team. So as you sort of start to come back through these, so autocracy is sort of where we've been heading. The next one we have is firing squad. The firing squad does not benefit the troops it's embedded with in any way. Every combat round is capable of in executing the leadership, their officers and NCOs of those troops that are retreating in order to give plus 50 morale and plus 50 readiness of up to 3 troops still fighting. Those executions lead to XP divided by 2 and minus 10 after that. So yeah, it's interesting. Bit of a double-edged sword with that one through there. Now if we have a look back at the map and then just go back to the strat cards, did we have any of them? No, we didn't. That's okay. HQs. I thought it would be with units, but I'm not sure. Anyway. Okay, so Trina's saying, I love conquering miners. I hate conquering majors. The number of small cities majors AI's found is just unfunny. Conquering them and getting rid of the excess can be so time consuming. It can indeed, yes. Is this game challenging to play or just a lot of mechanics to learn? It's challenging, but again, I mentioned last time when we started playing it, I highly recommend my own mod, which is the mod that actually gives you a little bit of an icon as to the different terrain, just so you can see what you're up against, because I tend to find the game plays much better as a war game, so I tend to just play it as if it's an actual war game. Actually, I just pressed S, which I shouldn't have done. In strategic move now. Sorry, come on. I use WASD turns all the time. I'll just go back to the normal move. So I press S, and that turns on strategic move. So arrow keys is the key that we have to then use. But in this case, we've got there's a fair bit of decision making around the resources, and we've had to sort of go and tweak what we're doing with resources to try to keep our water up, because we don't have any water at all other than this mine here. So there's like a water mine. Essentially, they've found like really deep ice, deep under the surface, and so they're mining that one, and we're looking frantically for more of that. So part of what we're doing in this one is searching everywhere for ice, because that's going to be the name of the game. Unless we can get to and find, there's when we actually started the map up, if I sort of zoom out, somewhere on the map, and we don't know exactly where it is. It's a big map, like a massive map. There's actually a large lake in the northern hemisphere, so on the other end of the map, and there's another medium-sized lake somewhere around the equator that we saw when the planet was being created, but we don't know where that is right now. And finding that would open the game up enormously for us. In the meantime, we're just going to have to keep on trying to find water, so that's going to be a bit of a problem there. Lord Zon is saying, see my comment 2 up from here. Oh, there we go. I think your Economic Council has their research priorities backwards. Discover is lower than research, so nothing is being researched. Yes, that's, hang on, it's, if we do, hang on, is that right? Discover is lower. Yeah, no, that's right. That's the way I want it. I want 0 discovery practically, or 1% discovery and 100% research. It's up to me whether we research or not. And at the moment, we're not researching anything. And the reason I'm doing that, the reason I've got it on that way, is that if I go into my reports and have a bit of a look, you'll see down through here, bureaucratic points, what the game is all about. So so we're getting 193 is what we should get up next turn, and we need to keep on trying to get the bureaucratic points, because these are the points that we spend on our development. And so at the moment, we've got a military research council has just started, and then we've got economic council, and you'll see down through here, that we're giving them a 0.3%, and same down through here with this discovery as well, 0.3% of the bureaucratic points. And then most of the points have been put into research, 19.2, and 29.7% of the total bureaucratic points have been put into research. But you'll see that this is 0 in research, 58 in discovery, even though it's actually only getting a tiny percentage of the budget. And same in through here. And so the discovery investments of these is going up all the time. And the reason that I've done it that way around is I can decide to not research. And if I decide not to research, everything goes into discovery. If I decide to research, everything goes into research. So the way that I like to play the game, if we go into the management screen and the text, if I get, let's just say I discover hydroponics, which is, you've discovered hydroponics, discovery is not possible. So we need to discover this one. The tech will enable us to build algae vat-based farming assets. These vats have a very low demand on water resources because the algae cultures are growing in a fully closed system. However, these vats do require moderate amounts of energy. So if we get this one, we then have to have our energy under control. So I could decide, look, I can discover it, but then I don't have to say, if let's just say it's the next one we discover, I think a lot of people automatically just start researching whatever they get, but quite often you don't need what they give you. Like heavy industry, I don't need heavy industry. So this technology allows us to produce machinery items in large quantities, vital for higher tech assets and equipment. We're still in subsistence mode, and so if I discover heavy industry next, I'm not going to research it. I'm going to keep on with discovery. I'm going to choose 0 research just to keep on everything being pumped back into discovery. When I've got something I want to research, I want that done as fast as possible. So for example, with the with my so anything that's sort of like in this sort of mode where we're just seeing it with grey and behind it, it hasn't been discovered yet. And so we need the discovery for what I'm really looking for is combat armor and also side skirts I'd be interested in getting as well. But combat armor, pretty much more than anything, is something that I'm looking for in the military. And so if I get things like radiation filters, I don't need it yet. We've got no radiation where we are. So I just won't research it. So if that comes up first, I just ignore it and keep on discovering until I get what I want. So yes, no, that's by design, to have discovery down in a tiny amount. If I did it the other way, if I did it so that discovery had all of the benefit and research had none, or even if it's 50-50, discovery would then always be kicking in all the time. But when I find something I want it as fast as I can possibly get it. Okay, so yes, Lord's on saying thank you for explaining that. I've learned a lot to learn. But that is something I've sort of found with the game. By not researching, it all goes back into discovery anyway. So you might as well have your discovery on minimal amounts for when you actually do the research. Okay, so William Blowers is saying, what kind of drip do you think the soldiers of the Great Glorious Empire are rocking? I've got no idea. Okay, so Element 80 is saying Graviton Tactics. Mia's front. Did you try it? No, I haven't actually tried that. I think I may have tried to contact them at some point, but I've never got my hand on the game. I've never been able to get my hand on the game. All right, so Malikan's saying, considering all the flat land, any reason you're not using lots of cheap bike units for control of for zone of control play? Their amazing recon ability. I don't need zone of control. Zone of control in the game, if you just go back to the map, doesn't mean anything. So it's you don't get any benefit by holding territory. So territory on its own, it's only if you find assets. I want the assets like this, like I've got metal and there's more metal down here. I don't need it yet. So even if I lose this, it doesn't really matter. I definitely need to keep all of the different areas that we've got. Like if I go to the assets and then just go back to the hex, like this is a rare mine. I need to make sure that that's protected. So the only reason I'm pushing the borders back at this point in time are really just to maintain security. I don't want these marching into my territory. So we're maintaining security in around here, and similarly down through here, just maintaining security away from my assets. I don't need to be going off. And the bikes I find aren't great at combat, so I'm just using basic troops here for that. We do actually have metal. We do have fuel. So we do, and we do have, because there is a bit of life on the planet, nothing sentient or nothing big. So there's nothing really to concern ourselves with. We are just fighting humans on this particular world. Sorry, I'll just keep on reading more comments. Okay, so yep. So yeah, Otter Holt's hand was also answering that question. So so Basme is in saying, Baz ate me saying, do you start to get a penalty later in the game once you hit a certain threshold for research if you allocate too much of it? But that is a lot later on. Not really. No, it just keeps on. Like the way it works is, yeah. If I go back to these reports, this will sort of show you a little bit. You do where you get the penalty is not so much in what you're allocating through here, but the amount that's given to you. And so at the start, you get a big bonus for. Whoops, just get that one up from underneath there. So with this one here, the next turn BPs, we've got 197, and you can see there you produced 98. So we're getting more than double as bonus. And for the small bureaucracy side, we received 99 extras. So we're getting nearly 100 points of bureaucratic points. Just because we're very small. Once we start to expand, that's going to shrink, which means we're going to have less of the bonus ones. And then once we even go beyond a certain size, and if we start to allocate too much, there's also a limit on what the actual councils can bear. And so the Economic Council, yeah, no, it's not actually telling us there what they actually are. I forget where we actually see that one. There is actually a you end up with a bit of a negative on if you're pushing too much into one group, and then once they have their bureaucratic points, whatever they end up with, so the total amounts they end up with, they can then allocate whichever way they need to allocate. So that's really not a problem. And so there are certain limits with certain things. Like I don't think there's a limit with cash or anything, or political points, but these will actually have a storage limit. So maximum storage is 3,678. So we've still got a fair bit of food that we can actually store. So all of these do actually have a limit. When we get close to the water limit, like we're still about half in through that one through there. So I can still store a lot of water, which means I can just keep the water coming in. So we're getting a fair amount of extra per turn with the water. But yeah, in terms of, it's all about the bureaucratic points, this game. Like it's, at the end of the day, that's really what you need. And you can sort of see what's happening with these different things, political points. Yeah, we're getting 5% political bonus provided, one extra political point. So we're getting little bonuses here and there. Income taxes on 20%. I'd like that on 30%. So I'd like that to be more, just because our money will slowly be going away. Anyway, let's continue on. So so there we go. So Lord Zon converted from a Prime sub to a Tier 1 sub. Thank you very much for that one. So you get a BP hit, but you get that for anything. Yeah, but you do also get the malice that comes with too much bureaucratic points being allocated to any one particular group. I think it's like if a group gets like 200 or something, it starts to then rust away. They still get extra bonuses, but sometimes you just have to give somebody a large push, even though you're wasting bureaucratic points just to get something done. So what is it saying now? DasTactic is the person to learn the game from. Thank you. Well, actually, Battle Mode's just bounced into YouTube. Battle Mode's also got a lot of videos there as well. So you're winning. Really just early days at this stage. We're just about to sort of look at our first target, which is this guy here. So Devon Mount, the Devon Mount Empire. Doesn't have a lot in there that we can see. Now we've got. We don't have all the recon into here. We've only got 20 recon points, so we're not seeing everything that's actually in the city. We're not ready to declare war yet. I think that's pretty much it for this turn. Like there's nothing much else we need to do. So we're still building up. We've got good metal. Actually, metal's going very well. Industry is going very well as well. Even energy now. We've actually now got the energy under control. So if I go back into my city, let's have a look and see what we're actually building. Under construction. They've got a waste plant in through here. This is a private asset. This is good stuff. They're actually building up themselves. So the population is actually looking after everything. We should be very, very soon. I don't think it'll show us in here. The if we go back to the empire itself. Yeah, it's a deep con in through here. Actually, no, that's not going to be it. where is it? If you go across to, we're still barbaric there. We need this to go up. Now, health points have just gone up this turn. And so this is going to then start to push up our civilization score. We need to get to 9 to then go to civilization level 2. So the civilization levels are important, and then that's going to open up more buildings. If we have a look at the going back into, it's a bit confusing how that one works. A lot of the numbers in the game are related to square roots or squares of different numbers, and so that sort of limits it so that it goes up logarithmically rather than linearly with some of the actual things that actually happen. And so the civilization score, I think it's 9 or 8. Anyway, we've got a couple more points. That will, by moving this one up, it's going to push the. We've got the quality of life score in through here. That's that's moving up as well. And so this will then sort of get the, and this is where I won't go through the maths of this one because I have to check it out myself. But we actually have a score. 14 is currently there for education. The entertainment score is slowly raising towards 50. So 6 plus 3. Security score is also heading towards 50. 12 plus 1. The health score is now 2. It's going to raise fairly quickly now because we've now got 100 health points in there. This will all push up the quality of life score. So based on the health, security, education and entertainment quality of life scores, if quality of life is higher than the zone civilization score, it will increase happiness. If it is lower than the zone civilization score, it will decrease happiness. So the high limit for the zone quality of life is the zone quality of life average plus the lowest quality of life score divided by 2. And so this is why we want to keep all 4 of these moving along. When we looked at in the last session, we saw that health was not a big part of what we were then sort of doing, and so in this case, it was we had 0 points there, which meant that was actually impacting what we're doing. Now our smaller number is 50, so that's going to, the health score will end up, the quality of life score will start to now rocket up and become higher than the civilization score, which will then give us our happiness. The civilization level, and I don't know if we can see that with the building. If we go back into what we can do here. If I go to construct inside this area and go to government buildings, we need to get bureaucratic officers 2, which gives me 200 bureaucratic points per round, but the civilization level has to be at least level 2. And so we're at level 1 at the moment, so we need that to be raised, and I forget where we find that out. Is it under the reports? God, there's a lot of stuff in this. That's all of the. That's the overview. Urgent issues. Yep. So diplomatic issues with everyone. That's okay. I don't mind that one. The leaders. I'm not sure where civilization actually shows up. It's planet details. We didn't have a good look at this one, and we don't need to. We sort of know what we've got to be doing here. Yeah, I'm not sure actually where it shows up to show the. I know it's a square root of something. Cabinet personnel. So the civilization score of this one, it's sort of like at the start you need to boost this up. The city's level 4, so that's gone up. That allows us to get more people. I can't think of where it is. I'm looking for what the maths of the civilization level is. So I think it's the square root of whatever the number is minus 1. So if it's 6, the square root of 6 is 2 point something. So then just bring that down minus 1. So it's 1 point something at the moment. So it's level 1 at the moment. So that's why I think when we get to 9, I think it's 9. The square root of 9 is 3 minus 1 is 2. That's why I think it's 9. But I can't remember where it actually is shown that in that one there. Okay, the dashboard for the faction civ says Elysian. The for the factions overview. Is that it? Dashboard for factions. These are the factions that we've got. I'm not seeing anything there to do with that aspect. Sorry. Civilization level comes from quality. Yeah, I know, but it's the actual number. It's the quality of life from your zones is then brought in, and then it's the average of that gives you a civilization score. This is the score that we have for this territory, and then it's the average, but I'm not sure where it shows it. Where would it be? It might be that profile. Nope, that's profiles, victory. That's the majors, all the majors, stratagems, decision, trade, spies, prospecting, mining. I don't know where it is. It's funny, I thought it was somewhere easy to find. Oh, here we go, here it is. So yeah, civilization level is the square root of your average regular zone civilization levels. So the civilization levels is on the so it's the average of those. I knew it was on this page. -1. So exactly what I had said. We need to get to 9. So that number needs to raise to 9, and that will sort of also just be a bit slow moving up. There we go. So that's that's sort of where we end up with there. So that one just shows the civilization level that we're trying to get to level 2. So again, if we take at the moment civilization score is 6, do the square root of 6, we probably end up with like 2.45 or something, and then we -1 to get that particular one through there. So that's the important one that we're actually trying to get to at this stage. Anyway, we'll leave that one where that is. Go back to assets. But we now have the ability to build something else ourselves, so we will actually just go back, and I've just pressed S again. I've got to press M. I'm going to be doing that a lot. It's a while since I've played the game. So we're going to go back in, we're going to go to construct. And if I get the High Command building number 2, at the moment, that's going to be 40 energy. Now, at the moment, it's going to then raise where we were. If I go and click on that building there, this one, initially at level 1, which is what we've currently got, it requires the production costs are 10 energy. And so the 30 energy that we have is going to be chewed up if we take this particular one, but we do get a big boost to our bureaucratic points. If we get 40 bureaucratic points and 100 political bonus points in through here rather than 25 and 10, so that does raise it up fairly well. So this is something we could certainly go for. It's also fairly cheap. If I just get rid of that one at the moment. So it's only energy that's really a big problem. So it's 4 rounds to get that, and it would be good to get that one. So that would be something we would be looking to get. Logistics-wise, we're actually okay at this point in time. We've got a truck station version 2. Don't need that one. The ammo depot is fairly good to go and get. We've got a water reservoir in through here. This one is going to only really give us storage. So this is storage, but this one does give us production. So I think the ammo depot, does that give us a little bit, or is it something else I'm thinking of? It might be under industry. Oh, yeah, sorry, there's an ammunition factory there. This one chews up 10. Again, this is a cheap one for us to get relatively. We've still got 3 machines that we can make use of. Industry 2 is going to give me more industrial points, but it's going to cost me a lot in energy, and I can't really afford that one. Energy, I could go and grab another solar panel field somewhere. That would be pretty useful to go and get, but and we've actually got a lot of these now as well. So we've already got 1 solar panel there. In fact, if I move this one to solar panel 2, we end up with 120. Now that's going to use up all 3 of these. 125 is actually enough. I can actually do this one. So this is actually something we can actually go and do. That would give me 120, and if I click on this one here, I can then see what we're currently getting. We're getting 50, so we get a massive boost with this by doing this particular one. So it goes up, it goes up essentially, 2.5 times. To just get a simple one of these, I can build another solar panel outside of where we are to get another 50 if I needed to. Yeah, this one's 2 rounds, so it's worth getting that one. Actually, it is worth upgrading. So I think we'll just do the upgrade, but we don't even need, even at the moment, we're actually doing okay. So I think we'll go back to the government building, start this building this one through here, and even with mining, what have we got? Recycling facility level 2, which I don't need that stuff. We've got wind traps as well. New construction projects are possible. So this one, the wind traps can only be built on hills, I think. So, but that's something that it's saying we can build it here. We get 200 water, so that's another way that we can get water. Is in the hills. Again, this is what the base amount is, but then there's a diminished return depending on the height that you are above sea level, I think. So in this case, I'd be better off to build that outside of the city. But I'm thinking back with the government building. This one here is to get these bonuses here. The other thing by getting the political bonus points is means I can possibly then give less points to the Supreme Command Council and give it more to the military and the economic councils. Let's just start that upgrade. So we've got 4 turns there, so we'll let that happen for a couple of turns. Hope that all makes sense. Balmain is saying, I must admit, even on Seth, I've never once had to use a wind trap, although I understand you need to do with the most recent rules. Yeah. Okay, so I complained about the abundance of water till Vic changed that. Yes, I know what you mean. Water is one of those things, depending on the planet, and they have now, Vic has now nerfed it down. But I'm thinking that if I end up in these sorts of locations on top of mountains, this is where wind traps are supposed to be built, not down in here, which is just a ruins. So we can still build it there. I don't know if it'll tell us what we get from that one. No, I'm not seeing it there. I'm not sure where we see the amount of water that we end up getting, but we've got no surface water anywhere on this world. Let's end our turn here. And again, we don't want to see the mutants coming in, otherwise I have to then deviate yet again to move into another direction. Now I definitely want to bring this vehicle up and be up into here by the time we end up going to war. So they're building up along that front line. Yeah, they are moving down now. All right, starting new turn. Devon Mount has violated empires and declared war on us. So they've actually now declared war. These are the warmongers. In a full-blown tone of culture, that's okay. Gain bureaucracy. Okay, we've got low leader relations. It's dropped to 55 points. Now, I don't know who that is. Ian Thallimate. Oh, this is, yeah, okay. In this case, yes, I do want to go. I don't know why the secretary doesn't actually have money, but we need to go to the national budgets, or salaries, sorry. And because he starts off with absolutely nothing. He only needs one, like just 1 credit per round is all that he'll actually require. So there we go, that's done. There we go. His relation will then sort of be increasing with that. So hopefully that keeps him fairly happy. And then these guys are the ones that we need to stop. So we just need to keep a gap because there's actually a zone of control. Need to protect that one. So these mutants are moving in. They're not at war with them, but they just keep it. They'll keep on shuffling in, causing issues. This one I'm going to move back off. You can see that these armoured cars move a long distance, but we're now at war with them. Before we really wanted to be at war, but that's okay. It's okay. We need to be sort of seeing what else we can spot when we come in. So we'll start to now do combat, and they all do different types of things. I'll start here and then move my way up. By moving this one up, we then get recon around. So I'll do a fairly deep dive into what's actually happening here. Basmi is saying, water can cripple you sometimes, and not having the rare metals a lot. Yes, that's true. And we've got metals in abundance. We just don't have water. So finding water is going to be important to us. And finding those lakes in this world is going to be important as well. Like if we can get hold of those, that's going to be an absolute game changer. Right, so we're now at war with this particular group. So I'm going to start to now move in. Now you've got big flat plains. Let's have a bit of a look to see what's actually going on here. So if I just left click, that will then sort of get rid of it. If I press the number 1 key, I can now see the terrain and start to plan for how we're going to tackle this particular city. Sometimes cities are on defensive locations like in hills. This one's not either. This one's actually on sand dunes, and ours is basically in ruins, and this one is here on just a rocky plains. It's important for us to know this because Devon Mount is not going to be easy to defend. It's going to be easy for us to attack, and so because it's in a plain, you can sort of have a look to see what the what's going to happen when we go to combat with it. So in this case, they've got a maximum entrenchment of 100 for any infantry and any guns that happen to be there. So if they've got the standard infantry and guns, then essentially they if they don't move them, they're going to have an entrenchment there of 100. If they enter the hex, they get a natural 25 as well. But nothing else gets any sort of protection at all. Also, we end up with the attack and defense modifiers, and you can see there's no attack or defense modifiers for anything except for protectors. Protectors out in the open have a -50 attack modifier and a -25% defense modifier. If we compare that to, for example, the mountains that we actually control, and so these are tall mountains, high mountains with no vegetation. And we can see there that it's massively different. So depending on what you're attacking into has a big bearing when you're playing the game. And so when you've got hills or mountains that you're moving into, you'll see there that the attack modifiers for motorized and tanks goes way, way down. And similarly with the defense modifier for tanks and motorized also goes down. So this is where you want your infantry in the hills and you want your tanks on the plains. And so we've got very limited tanks at the moment, but we've got enough, I think, to be able to push this particular attack. So they've got and this one here, you also get automatic entrenchment of 125 if you're an infantry or guns, up to a 250 entrenchment, which is sort of like a bit of a multiplier of their actual abilities. And hi Sketic, how you going? So yeah, you've also found the calculation there. So K10 is saying, do you think it's too easy to use diplomacy to win the game, or at least grow very large quickly? Yes and no, depending on how you set the game up. Like if I've purposely chosen a dangerous world, a world that we're not going to have too many farmers. Now we've got farmers in the Confederation next to us, so we could play diplomatically and get them on our side. But I tend not to anyway, and we've chosen an autocratic empire, which means that they're not going to be all that friendly to us. But having said that, these guys actually have to a large degree. Anyway, so the high mountains is very, very different. Low mountains, we'll sort of see it's got similar sorts of entrenchment, etc. It's a bit easier for tanks and motorized to get into those. Sand dunes are a different one again. These ones have got even worse entrenchment, but the attack modifier for tanks and motorized also is poor. So this is one where infantry can actually really sort of carry the day. And then you've got the, what else is there? There's the tall dunes, these ones in here. These are just main sand dunes. Actually, that's the same. Is that the same as the small ones? Pretty much in terms of combat. So tall dunes like this, you've got pretty much the same attack value of the as the small dunes. I think it mainly is the movements between in there becomes a bit more of a problem. All right, so let's just press the number 1 key, and we've then got our combat forces in through this other side. What I'd like to do would be to surround some of these units and wipe them out as quickly as we possibly can. So by bringing this one up, we now actually, if I click on any of these, we'll see the recon amount, like 158. And so the current recon points into this hex. Minimum recon for the unit information is 40. It's 42 on that hex. Now the reason it's 42 is because it's not, like it is open, so it's very close to 40. If that was a forest, that would be fairly different. If we go and have a look at, we don't have any mountains that are outside of our territory. We've only got 16 recon in through here. See how that one has got 92 for that hex. It's easier to hide in a mountain than it is to hide in the plains. So in the plains, our recon should be fairly high. So bringing this recon, like the armored car, which has got amazing recon abilities. If we have a look at its stats for recon are 78, which is really, like, this is a monstrously high level. So we've got an amazing recon ability there. If we have a look at our normal troops, our grunts have got a recon of 1. So they don't see much, but these armoured cars see a hell of a lot. And so from that armoured car, by bringing this up near the combat, it allows us to see what's going on, and recon is very important for combat. So we're going to be doing combat now, so we'll start to sort of talk our way through this. What we need to do is we need to isolate different stacks that we can then deal with. And so we've got small groups in through here of this is like a small militia, like this is a mechanized warmonger battalion, which has got irregular trucks. It's got buggies, which are it's recon. Warrior knights have been added to this one through here, bikers and just some warmongers. So we're sort of seeing some basic groups in through here. This one's warmongers with war dogs. Again, it's got a warrior knight. These are feats and an elite sniper, but I should be able to push these back relatively easily with the forces that we have. So if we think about how we definitely want to capture this group in through here, where they've got some irregular tanks, buggies. Again, nothing too much that we have to really worry about, but the tank is the big thing that we see through there. This one here is bikers, dogs again, warmongers. This one's just warmongers. So these aren't really anything too dramatic for us to concern ourselves with. What I want to do is I want to keep all of my forces that are the same type together. So I'm going to move this one up into here. I'm going to move that one into there. And see how these are all part of the 2nd Infantry. So the 2nd Infantry I'm going to have attack this particular group. And so if I move this group into, and this is the command for that particular group. So if we go into this one here and start to sort of set up an attack against this particular group, this has got some warmongers. The warmongers are reasonably good. They're about the same as what we have. They don't defend well. They do attack well against soft targets. And so in this case, I can just go and grab this particular one here. The commander of the 2nd Light is Ian Thallimate. So he's actually sort of coming back through. He's the one that's not, well, he's one of the ones that's not very happy, but we'll just get things going. So we'll just go and push into here. And we now start to get into the actual combat round. Now, if I bring in, it's very important that we end up getting as many bonus points as we possibly can. And what we can sort of see through here, I'll go through this in some detail as to how this one does work. These are the other eligible forces to come in, and the attacking forces so far is this one friendly unit. And even at this case, it's almost 1-to-1. So we're attacking with a, I don't know where it shows the attack points, but let's just go through. This is the estimation of offensive modifiers, and this is the estimation of defensive modifiers. So at the moment, they've got a 17%. This is the unit's entrenchment. So the warmongers have got 17% entrenchment, and the war dogs have got 13% entrenchment. Let's actually do a deep dive into this, because it's worth knowing how this works in the game. It's not just something where you just blunder in and just do anything. So let's have a look at these guys. So the warmongers and the war dogs, these are feats. These don't actually help with the, they're not units themselves, they're just attached to units to give them a bit of a bonus. And so the elite sniper will help with, so what does that one do? So when those being the most experienced in the enemy formation, when the troop the elite sniper is embedded with score any hits, the target XP is halved. So ratio, so it's more just going to help with experience points. And the warrior knight gives a bonus. So the ultimate decisiveness of the warrior knight ensures that if the troops he is embedded with score any hit, that hit will be a kill. So we have to be careful, because this one actually means that they're going to not just be hitting us and damaging our morale. They will actually do actual damage to our units by having these units actually in here. The war dogs themselves, if we go and click on that one through there, again, this one attacks very, very well, but doesn't defend well. So this is why going into the attack now is good for us. So the war dogs have got their own entrenchment. Like you can see there, the entrenchment there is 21 overall for everything. So, and this one as well. This one is actually better entrenched than the other one. So it's saying 21, but then it's in reality it's sort of being nerfed back down to its readiness is 100. So we've got that one in through there as well. Morale is only 54. The experience is 16. So all of these numbers then sort of make up, when we go into the actual combat, with what these actually then relate to. So 17 is the entrenchment modifier, essentially, of what they get. We then actually have a few different things, like this is actually the readiness on attack values. So the readiness level is -12 for the warmongers and -33 for the war dogs, even though it's showing that the readiness is is fairly high, like at 100. It's still a value there. This one is the readiness levels modify the attack values and the hit points of troops. So when they do their counter attack, they've got a -8 for that one through there. The back and through here is the experience modifier. With the experience that they actually have, but the warmongers have a little bit better than the war dogs, and so in this case they're getting a 22 overall. Then we have the experience modifier on hit points. So the same experience, it'll be the experience essentially on gets applied to both, and there's a few things where this actually one does. This is for attack values and hit points. This one is for when they attack, and when they're actually readiness on the attack. This one is actually for their hit points. So they end up with a few more hit points than what they would normally have. So they've got plus 20 back and through there. Which then gives us a bonus modifier on hit points. The AI gets a bonus, so this is because we're playing on a hard mode, and so they end up with another 10% extra hit points on what they end up having. And so what happens with the game, the important one is this one, the cumulative modifier. All the estimated modifiers multiplied with each other. So they end up with a plus 51% on their stats based on all of these different things that we're sort of seeing in through here. Once all of these are applied, they get a 51. It means that their defensive power is 262 overall. A rough estimate of the defensive value of the forces, both attack plus HP, are taken into account. So this is actually sort of what their combat strength is in defense with the numbers that they actually have. And by the time you then use the 51% on top of that, their cumulative modified defensive power is 395. So that's what we have to overcome. Now we have the same deal over through here. We don't have entrenchment because we're the ones doing the attack. So we're going in, we have a negative 29% on readiness. Our readiness is low at 79 because we moved. So moving will actually reduce our readiness a little bit. That also then impacts our hit points. So we can be killed off a bit easier. Then we actually have our experience is 23. So you can see it's about the same experience as what they've got. Our hit points, we've got a little bit more experience. We've only got grunts in this one group, so we've just got one group of grunts. Then we've got the modifiers for the leaders, so we've got plus 11% for the OHQ and SHQ leaders, and this one as well. We've got another. This is for the hit points, so we get a little bit extra in through there. So our cumulative modifier is only 9%. Our attack strength is actually a lot more than theirs. The offensive power for ours, we saw that their defense was weak. With what they actually ended up having, whereas our defence, I'll show you that again before we get started, but this one is 550, and then we apply the plus 9% and we end up with 600. So we've got a modified offensive power there of 600. The odds it's saying are 0.1 to 1, so it's actually, even though we've got like this effect in through here, it's not just a one-on-one to win the fight, they're still defensive, and so we have to then go through a series of attacks, and I'll show you this when we get into it as well, but we have to go through 2 levels where we do very little damage as we close the gap, and then we finally get to fight even at that point. So they have 2 rounds in combat where they have a big advantage, and so this is why the actual combat odds are not 2 to 1, or 4 to 3 or whatever it might be, or 6 to 4. So 3-2 ratio. It's because the switching in and moving in is actually going to be a problem. So that's actually where one of those things are. Let's just quickly go back out, and again, if you're sort of new to the game, why are those numbers there? Again, if we have a look at the warmongers, they defend at 41. So the number we're looking at, this is a soft attack coming in against this particular group, and so they've got a soft defense of 41. And you can see there the different defenses that they end up having against different types of things. So their defense against infantry, which is what it is 41. The defense against tanks is 15. If we had a tank in here, they'd only be defending at 15, and they would only be attacking at 18. So their attack and defense is very, very similar. If we have a look at the war dogs, their attack is fairly high, but their defense is abysmal at just 16. So their overall defense is minuscule. So they don't defend well, but they do attack well. So with the warmongers, they're really the only 2 units we actually have in through there. So this is a nice simple one to sort of try to calculate. So we're going to go in with that one through there. I'll then go and add in, I've got another one that's coming in from the same direction. So if I go and click on this unit through here, I now add in 2 of these units. and we start to now see a few other little things now changing. So we've now got the odds are now nearly 2 to 1. We want to get to about 6 to 1 to 8 to 1 is really sort of like the odds that we're looking for to be able to know that we've actually been effective. So we need to really try to get this one up. At this point in time, you can see down through here again, these numbers haven't changed all that much, but we now actually have another modifier that's come in. This is the maximum attack saturation modifier. This modifier turns negative if you're committing too much firepower on too little quantity of targets. And so what we've got for our grunts, we're both coming in from the one direction. And so we end up with, we're actually now stepping on each other's toes. So we end up with a negative in through there. This hasn't changed so much over this other side, so that doesn't really sort of impact so much over this area. But you can see down through there, we're getting now a plus 25% coming in, so instead of the 9%. So we are, overall, it's still good. We've got good offensive firepower, plus the 25% is giving us 1,373. Let's just go and get rid of that one there for now, and just go back to where we were with the 600. The interesting thing with the game, if I start to change the angle of attack, if I click on that one through there, we're no longer stepping on each other's toes, but we are still, we should now have we are still stepping on each other's toes, but we now have a concentric modifier here of 10%. The more you can surround them and come in from different angles, you do get extra bonuses in through there. If I go and click this one down through this other side, we're now up to plus 40% with the concentric modifier. So coming in with different angles really does help. Having said that, it's pretty much mitigated with this, we've got too many attacks going in against this particular unit. But I can still just overwhelm it. So we've still got like a 2.4 to 1. We're gonna win, but we could still take some damage. If I go and throw in this unit here, the orange unit rather than the red unit, that's from a different group. It's no longer under the one control. If I go and throw that one in, it halves your concentric modifiers. So you can end up going backwards by adding in too many units. So getting rid of that one, we actually do better. If I go and throw that one in, we're now 4.1. We're still stepping on each other's toes. They sort of cancel each other out. But we now have pretty much fairly overwhelming odds coming in for this particular fight. Now, it's not ideal. As I said before, I like to get to 6 to 1 or 8 to 1 or something like that, as to make it so that you're pretty much assured that you're going to get a victory. But let's just go in through this other side and just go in. Now, this is a regular attack. We can do like long range, like we can sort of have like artillery attacks and so on and so forth as well. So we'll just keep on with that one coming back through. So I hope you don't mind me spending the time to go through this one here. If we now do the attack, and I will do it here, even though I'm a little bit concerned, but we're just sending in just grunt forces pretty much against their grunt forces in through there. So we'll just do the attack.
Yes, sir. We're going in.
Now a lot's happening. This is round by round by round as we do things. And we saw there, like the skull over the top is a dead grunt, like it's somebody that's died. The arrows going back means that they've retreated. The little white number means that they've actually scored a hit, and then the red number that we see is a kill. So the 3 hits, 2 kills for this particular group of grunts. This group was actually killed, and they were killed really, really early in the fight. We've killed most of their forces. The attacker won in the end. And you can see through there, we've got like the actual benefit of having the OHQ and then the Supreme HQ coming through has actually sort of been fairly impactful with what's actually happened with the overall odds. And this is actually the end result. So 75% of troops are still operational. The blue there is the retreats, and then the red is what we end up. We lost 3 subunits there. So that means that 3 of the units we have, and if we go to page 2 in this side, yeah. So 3 of these units ended up being killed in the actual fight that they then went and did, and so that's sort of what ended up happening. We got the concentric, the terrain modifier there with the concentric there of 40. We ended up with the troop modifier there of plus 25. This was there again summarising what we saw there as well, 2% in through that side. So we killed a lot of those, including the dreaded warrior knight, who would have been attached to this group. See how the warrior knight is attached to this particular group of warmongers? And remember what it said, like any hit that gets is a kill. And so that warrior knight means that all 3 of its hits automatically became kills. So the very first one that got killed off in through here So I wish I would tell you what number of grunt that actually is, but we'll have a bit of a look at other things we can then sort of go and do with this particular group. So he was attached to that group. The sniper was attached to this group here. So that's where the sniper is still actually active. Where is the sniper feet? I'm not seeing it there. Yeah, that's the elite sniper. So the elite sniper was attached to this unit. The warrior knight was attached to this unit, which ended up being killed. So we can sort of see now what happened in the actual combat. If we go into the battle report, that's just going to go through the report of the battle. Text is just going to give me a summary of what actually happened, but the detail goes through round by round. And this is actually how the combat fought out. So in this case, it was fought out in 5 rounds before we won. So in the first round, and if we go back and select individual units, so this is the individuals list in through here with our grunts. This is round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4. You can sort of see that there's different things being attached into here. So as I've got the 4th Light Infantry Battalion, in the first one, the number 3 grunts got killed. And so this one here, if I go and click on that one through there, I can then sort of see what's happening. Now, if we don't have good recon, there may be other things in here that we never get to see, and also we can actually miss a lot in the first phase. So what actually happened with him is stats at the start of at round. So the grunts 3 were attacked by an unknown enemy. We know it's the enemy with the warrior knight attached to it. So we attacked them. They counterattacked, and they got a kill on us. So if we go and have a look at this one through here, we can see the grunts were counterattacked by an unknown enemy. The attack score, we can't see what the attack score. The defense score we have for this unit is 65.71. So at this stage, we don't know what the unknown enemy is, but we'll find that out fairly soon. And so yeah, we've got the Devon. It's us, and then the Devon Mount Empire. Yeah, we've got the warmongers there. Tax grunts. Yeah, so this is round 1. They're sort of doing a lot of counter-attacking as we have swarms coming in towards them. So they've got an attack overall of 41, but all they need to do is, after modification, it's about a 47 versus 68, and it's just really a matter of rolling dice to see if your attack is greater than your defense type thing. And so in this case, the modifiers sort of worked out where it wasn't sort of working all that well. If we have a look at go back to our actual infantry, so these are the 4 different groups against their unknown unit, back in through here. If we have a look at the grunts, we can then sort of see the stats at the start of the round. The important one here is, we may have to go deeper in. When we attack, we have the attack startup, negative 75%. The first round is we only do 75% attack abilities because we're closing the gap. In round 2, if I'll just go to another one. Let's just say we take this 8th grunts, and we'll just work them through through what's actually happening through here. There should be a 75%. It's not really showing there. It's only when we attack that we see the 75% attack startup. When we go to round 2 and look at their attacks now, so they've actually now gone through this particular area. They've now closed the gap, and so with closing the gap, they ended up with the 50%. And at round 3, you can see that we've got an exclamation mark. We've actually now, at round 3, we then meet the actual the force, and we no longer have that same problem. So we are now fighting, but it takes 2 rounds. So those first 2 rounds, we're at a major disadvantage. Now, if we were armor, it wouldn't matter that much. But if, like being infantry, we've got those two areas to go before we can get in. This is why those odds don't make a lot of sense, because it's taking into account 75% for round 1 and 50% for round 2, and then we no longer have it. The exclamation mark means that we've broken through, and so we actually have like a breakthrough in this particular round. So this particular group has broken through. The 9th grunts have not broken through yet. So these actually still, these are dead in round 3. These are retreating back from this particular group. This one hasn't actually made its breakthrough yet, but the other 5 have made a breakthrough. And so when it attacks, it's sort of getting through here. It's causing our group of warmongers, number 43, to retreat. And so they're actually now retreating. You can see there that the attack of 55 versus defence of 100 in this case. But even after the modifiers, we did manage to force a retreat. And so this is all the stats and all the numbers as to why they've got their entrenchment bonuses. You can see everything basically in there with all the stats as to what's happening round by round by round. And as they start to take damage or as they get hit, their morale will suffer as well. So their actual, we'll start to see other factors will then sort of kick in. If we have a look at the 9th, so what's happening with them? Their morale is only 56. What's the other ones? If we go to this one here, actually this morale's still pretty poor as well. So morale is actually not all that great with these guys. Experience 22. It attacks war dogs, so it's actually attacking the war dogs in through here. It missed it, and so it really didn't do it. They got a counter attack back on them, but their counter attack score is really tiny because again we saw what their defensive abilities were like. They were terrible. It resulted in a miss as well, but we didn't actually get the breakthrough there. And so if we go to round 4, so it takes them until there before they get the breakthrough. So yeah, there we go, broken through there at that particular point. So they finally get the breakthrough. So they've broken through the enemy lines. This is actually where the rear troops will then be susceptible to being attacked by any unit with an exclamation mark. Now, if we go to the unknown units in through here, we can sort of see that by round 1, we're not seeing too many lists of we're only aware of 1. We only see 1. In 2, this is the ones with the warrior knights. Now that one, by that stage, these actually end up dying. So they get killed pretty early, but they do 3 kills themselves. So Warmongers is attacked by grunts, counter attacks, and gets a kill. Is attacked by and then finally is attacked by the grunts number 5, who ends up killing it. But it took a long time to get that one, and in the meantime, it's the one thing that did all the damage back. It was just because of that warrior knight. Anyway, it's fairly detailed. You don't bother usually looking back at this. The battle report is just going to be, this is something that's now saved, where we can then go and see essentially a summary of what happened with the battle. We don't get to see all of the other bits and pieces. We get to sort of see what happened overall with the units, the different troops, what they did, any modifiers. So we do actually have a way now of recording battles, which is something that is good. So we then got it from the attacker and defender side there as well. We'll just go back out. I'm pretty sure that stays around now, that battle report, for quite some time. Just go and click on OK. And so that's, I feel like to have the graphic look. The graphic look will then sort of at least allow us to see what's going on. But that's, usually you don't go out of this screen because you sort of know what's going to happen, but the absolute specifics, so it's interesting to see that it was round 2 that these guys got smashed. Imagine if they had stayed around until round 4 and how many of our units would have been killed. What would that have done in terms of the morale of everyone else? Would more have run away? Could they have won the battle in that case? But they didn't because one of our guys did actually get the kill. All right, so anyway, that's the nitty-gritty of how combat works. But again, you don't really need to go much beyond this screen unless you're really interested in what's actually going on. So just go and click on OK. So we've now pushed that one back. Now, this one has no longer got any more action points. This one still can move in. So we will actually move in up to it. This one can also move in because that's where the attack was. That one can still move in because of the attack, but I don't want to. I want to keep that one where that is. You can see this one has now lost a unit, so we're going to need to get replacement units in through there. This unit can also move up into there freely because essentially it's moved in because it was attacking there. But I now have I can attack this one in through here now as well. So this one here has got bikers, warmongers, war dogs, trucks, buggies, and another warrior knight there. So the warrior knights are going to be a bit of a problem for us. That's now moved us right up against the city. So not that I can really sort of attack the city all that easily just yet. We only have recon there of 42, and it's saying that that's the minimum we need to be looking on that particular location. So it's not ideal to attack with such poor recon. What I'd like to do is not just push this back, I'd like to destroy them completely. But having said that, there's only 10 regular tanks, which means it's sort of like minimal number. There's a good chance it's going to die anyway. I think I'm just going to attack it. And if we go back into our groups that we actually have in through here, we actually have a special tank in here as well. This is 10 GR vortexes, and this is actually, we're using the orange guys here. So if I have a look at the orange, I've got orange there. I do have orange there as well. Yeah, I've got two groups of orange in that one. One of them has got bunker busters. So this group in through here of grunts and machine gunners, these guys are expert with demolition charges and tackling enemy fortifications or formations. Yeah, sorry, fortifications. The troops they're embedded with will always reduce 50% of entrenchment points of a target they attack. And so this one is useful for reducing the entrenchment, and then also the medical team. So troops love to have a medical team embedded with them. If the troops suffer a kill combat result, the medical team has a 50% chance to transform it to a retreat result. So that's hopefully, if we end up with those sort of problems. Now, do we have warrior knights in with this one? Yes, we do. So there's a warrior knight in that group. Again, we have to be careful. I don't know who it's attached to. Yeah, we don't know which one it's actually with. I'm guessing it'll be these warmongers. But so we can sort of move this medical team would actually be good to help attack that one there. So we've actually got, again, 3 or even 4 forces that can actually smash this one. So I'm going to go and take in, let's have a look and see what happens again if we just go in this way. We're going to get 0.5 to 1 odds in through that side. We've got different groups we can now bring in. Let's bring in the big tank. We're going to see a massive difference in the results here. So it then goes to a 37 to 1. This is a Galactic Republic tank that we found at the very, very start of the game. So we've had this one sort of available to us. It's dangerous to move it in because if the warriors attack it and it gets a hit on it, it's a kill. So we have to be very careful. And then that's then the end of that unit. So it's a little bit risky. But I'm going to go in with the other units that are also off to the side. So we're going to go in with this one, and we're going with that one. That's just going to it's reduced our overall odds, but it means the survivability of this tank is much, much higher. So I'm just going to keep that where that is. I might not go in with that one because I also want to now use it for another attack coming in the other way. But this tank is going to rip through here, hopefully. Let's go and do the attack and just hope, and fingers crossed, we've got a fair few troops going in. We're also going in, actually, I'll show you this after we do the attack, but this is a big attack. So it's getting kills. And it is that one with the warrior knight was with that particular group, and it did actually it did move away. We lost a couple of units there. That tank still managed to get away from the actual fight. We sort of scored hits in through here. We got they had more irregular tanks there than I saw there actually. That's interesting. But we've killed off a lot. A lot of them have retreated. And so just go and click on OK. I was hoping to actually kill the tank. So I'm just going to go up with this unit now. This group, when we have a look at it, is down to 20% readiness. This has really suffered a lot. But I also want to make sure that I have something with the tank because I don't want that warrior knight impacting the tank, but I do want to go and go further up. So I'm going to go and move this one up. And we're then going to continue fighting.
Going in.
And we killed the warrior. The warrior thing was now with the warmongers. We got 3 hits with that one. We didn't suffer anything. And then we went in with the, like this is the machine guns in through here that they ended up sort of, they got the kill against the warrior, the warrior knight. That's good. So that sort of makes that one a lot more important for us. I can now move that one up as well. So we have lost a unit in there. This one can still keep on fighting. Now back in through here, another warrior knight back in through that side. I still have units back in through here as well that can go and attack. And got warrior knights there as well. You've got the buggies. You know, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go and I'm going to attack this way. Just while I've got this thing, it's going to absolutely smash this. Yeah, got rid of the warrior knight straight away. Its buggies are running away. That's sort of what they do. We did lose another unit there, another grunt. And that one can move up into that zone, which I'll do. Okay, so we're sort of now starting to push it so that if there's any other tanks down in here, which there's not, they won't be able to go through the mountains. So they would have been caught. This group in here can move off. So we've now got two directions in on the capital, but not that I can really do much with it. This one can move into there or stay where it is. I'll keep that one where that is. I'm going to move in these militia forces, which aren't really attached to any particular group. Just move them into positions that I want them to be defending, like for example this area, or oh, there we go, we've found another little group at the top there. So this is just like the leftovers. Again, they're down to 7 readiness, so they're really going to be super easy to build, to beat. This group, I would prefer not to attack it because the less that are in the city, the better. And we will be wanting to go in and do big attacks into the actual city. I can attack this one with this unit, and we're then going to be pushing it back. So this one's also attached to orange, and so I do actually have a. If I go, this one I can replace. I can't replace the other one, so I'll just go in with the other units just to soak up damage. So we've got like 5 tanks in with this particular group.
Operation successful.
That's good, and the warrior knight escaped. So we'll just leave that one where that is. One doesn't have any more attacks that it can then go and do, but this one here, its readiness is pretty poor. Sorry, in with what it's doing. I should point out as well, these are made up of grunts and machine gunners. The machine gunners, if we have a look at them, their attack is about the same as the grunts, but their defense is very, very high. So when they defend incredibly well. So having machine gunners is where if you are facing a major, make sure you've got machine gunners working with some sort of anti-tank ability. So if we have a look at the normal grunts, these are our basic units. They've got a defense of 110 and an attack of 55, which is still pretty good in this game. But the machine gunners have got an attack of 67 and a defense of 267. So they defend incredibly well, but not that well against tanks. So tanks have got a defense of 67. The grunts have got a defense there of 55. So against armor, you do need to actually then have anti-tank abilities in with your group to be able to then sort of defend effectively in that sort of capacity. Now we've sort of squashed that one up against this border. I'm not sure whether we want to take this one up. This is like again a fairly good group. This one does have artillery, and I'm thinking I'm going to bring this one in. I'm going to bring up in as much artillery as I possibly can, if we can do it. These are very, very slow moving. This one's also got irregular artillery. So I'm going to move this one up to this other side. You can see there, this has got trucks which are dragging the artillery around. They've also got buggies, which actually improves the ability for us to be able to do recon. So at the moment we've got recon in here now of 62. It's gone up from 42 to 62 as we've moved up. If I move this unit up into here and then have a look, we're now exposing other things. We're now up to a recon of 110. And so the minimum recon for full information we need is 402 in that hex. But we now should be able to see what's actually in this area. So we've got warmongers, war dogs and snipers on that group. Yeah, more in through there, more warrior knights there. There's 2 of them in that group. There's heaps and heaps of them in these areas here. There's heaps of them in that one as well. So they're all just infantry. I'm going to move this up as well and get that one ready for the next attack. As far as these guys are concerned, I could certainly move them in to soften areas up. I've also got this one as well with more artillery. I'm going to bring this one back in the other side. I wish I could actually hit that one. I don't have anything that can really move up and do the damage there. That one's not good enough on its own. So the combined arms is very, very important. This group in through here, they've got 2 groups there, but I want this one to have as much firepower as possible this way. I've still got this tank unit as well. I'll keep that one there where that is. Now, there's a gap there, but there is a zone of control there that we actually have. And so we've got a, you can see there's like a penalty down through here. This is the extra action point cost caused by penalties into this hex. Extra is cost by enemy zone of control on the hex is 10. That's 10 for us, that little 10 down through there. But for them as well, like for them to move down this way is going to be hard. But we don't want them attacking our actual HQ. So I'm going to move the HQ back into a defensive location. This one here would be hard to get to, but we might as well still bring it back. They still have an impact at that range, so that's going to be fine where that actually is. Now, unfortunately, this here, I can't afford to move that off because I've got this. So I'm sort of stuck there because I'm also trying to stop these mutants from moving past our forces. These guys here are actually okay. I'll just leave them where they are. I'll just let them hold that gap. Anyway, that's sort of like, so with combat, you don't have to do everything. Now, the other thing we have is that we need to make sure that we've now got replacement troops, and we've lost a fair few. So if we go back into replacement troops, you can see there that we've got no infantry back in through there. Actually, we've got, yeah, no, I don't have any at this stage. So infantry, we've lost 6 of them. So we've got 600 we need to replace. We haven't lost anything else, so I could, if I wanted to, let's just say that they counterattack. If they counterattack us and defeat more of our infantry, then we need to, if we have those sitting in our reserves, we can then just filter them out at the start of the turn and be back up in fighting fit straight away. For the light armor, I'm not going to worry about. For the buggy, this is a different type of buggy, so it's not going to work. This is a Galactic Republic buggy that we have. It's not one of ours. So in this case, really is just infantry that we're going to be sort of dealing with. So in this case, we've got the infantry options that we end up having. So recruiting, I'll recruit, say, 10 of these, 10 grunts. So we'll produce those. So there is a cost in terms of manpower, industry, and metal. So now we do actually have and this is the inventory that we actually have available to us. So we'll produce those. So we've got 1,000 grunts have now been delivered to the SHQ. And so we now have 1,000. Now the other thing I wanted to get was machine gunners because we're likely to lose them. So I'm just going to go and grab them as well and just get, say 4 or 5. Just get 4 of those. These cost more industry and metal, so they're more expensive than grunts. And so we'll just have them in reserve. Nothing else is really required in reserve here, so we'll just go and cancel that one. And that's pretty much that turn done, I think. Where are we? Sorry, I'm missing a lot of comments in through here. Yeah, Battleman's saying that the AI is a lot better at getting the farmers by Diplo now, I think. Yeah, so the farmers are very sorry, just go back to all the chat. I've missed a lot here, guys. Sorry, I'll just Alt-Tab across and zoom out. I'm working on the game manual with Vic at the moment. It says battle mode. Okay, so it's really helpful for me to see people play it to figure out where they have issues. Yeah, it's actually fun. It's interesting to see where different people are. Malcolm's saying since you're not using the runs at the moment, what about scavenging furnace? So it's since it's so cheap. The reason I don't like getting scavenging furnaces on the different ruins, sorry, so you did say ruins, is because you can ultimately use them to find artifacts, and they would be much better. So unless I have to, I tend not to try to deplete the ruins. I try to keep them so that we can actually eventually find things in them. Hopefully. I mean, sometimes you just have to, but in this case, we don't need to. So we'll go through there. I'll just skim past everything. Yeah, Benny's saying early game scavenging is great if you have tiles with high scav levels. Yeah, so it's, again, unless I need to, I tend not to do it. Okay, we've got the wind traps. We've gone through those. Sorry, I'm missing I've got a lot to go through. I'll just filter out through. Pohoe is then saying kill their dog. That's cold. It is indeed. Game looks pretty interesting. Mule, for example, with the war dogs, they are basically useless in defence because of bad defence stats. Yes, pretty much. So if you had war dogs, you need to be on the attack, like what I was doing. So I went on the attack. They declared war on me but they didn't actually attack me. So what they were doing is that they were going to try to push their forces into my territory, but I had the border was closed to them basically, so they really couldn't encroach in from where we were. They could take this group down, and they possibly will. So that may be something that they do. If they don't go back and defend their city, their city will be dead this turn. So I should be able to defeat it this turn. So the reason I'm not attacking these is because I don't want to bottle the city up. I want the city with as much openness as possible. I do prefer to have one escape route for the city because they don't fight as fast. I may have to take 2 turns, one to clear out this one to clear out that one, move in, possibly keep that one open. But if I can get in and get the concentric bonus against the city, depending on what's in there, it's the fact that it's on the plain really means it's very hard for them to defend it. Where are we? So, I'm just reading. Where did I get up to? So Baz 8 Me is then saying in later battles I use combined arms to stop heavy losses, especially in big campaigns when it's hundreds of turns in. So it's a shame that you can't add the brigades into a corps and army group instead of just increasing the individual's unit size, or a mix of both. You can do certain things. I like what they've done. Star Major saying, with the Warrior Knight, if we attack them with tanks and they somehow get a hit on their tank, would that blow it up? Yes, it would indeed. Yes, and that's why I wanted to make sure there was lots of targets, so that they didn't just pick on the tank. Now, having said that, they've got to roll incredibly high points, so it's still mathematically possible. But if I had just gone in just with the tank, all of their units would have been firing at the tank. And even though we have a big advantage, one Warrior Knight attack that gets a hit on the tank, and getting a hit is a lot easier than a kill on one of those sort of tanks, but one of those getting a hit on the tank is a kill, and so that would have been a big problem. Mueller's then saying, don't you want to soften them up with artillery first? Artillery is more to get rid of their readiness, and that's what we want to do in the city. So the city I'm moving the artillery up towards the city. Not so much the other attacks are okay. If they were dug in, then artillery is great. But I didn't need to do it in that instance. So the artillery was not important to me. And these artillery only move at one hex anyway. So they do chomp through a lot of ammunition. We have to be careful about ammunition. Yeah, I might just go in and, while I'm thinking, just produce some ammunition here.
Yes, sir.
Just make sure we've got a lot of it. All right. So, Bazami is saying no ammo factories. You'll run out of ammo resupply. Can overload supply routes if you do it too much. Yes. So I will have to get the artillery, the ammo factory up and running at some point. So Otis Hands is saying, do you know if you can mod the game so that Diplo cards cost a lot more? Also, will that make the AI have to pay more, or just the player? That would be for both. Baz 8 Me is saying, if you mod something, it's for the game. You're basically changing the numbers in the game. So everyone plays by pretty much the same rules, except the AI does have some things that are exposed in the game as to the advantages that they do get, like with road building and things. But it's really, when you look at it, why it's like that, it actually makes perfect sense. So the AI is very, very good. So even though it cheats, every game the AI cheats. The difference here is that Vic, the developer, actually tells you what it's cheating with, just so you're aware of it. Whereas in most games they don't tell you. It still cheats. They just don't tell you. And in this case, the cheating is minimal. The AI, brilliance is actually way at the very, very top. So Ben is saying units with the SHQ also start to NXP at a slow rate, so there might be less green when they reinforce the units. Actually, that's true. Yeah, just keeping them around. I like to keep like enough for a round and a bit. So Pajamas is saying, hey Daz, hi back. And Mongolian tactics always give the enemy a golden route to retreat. Yeah. Well, it's sort of, in this case, I've actually opened up where I don't want him moving into this area, but I can't plug that gap. And so for them, the dilemma will be, do they go back and protect their city, or do they move in and try to cause havoc? like if that one can sort of make it down onto that road, for example, it can then go and sort of block off this area. But I don't think it can get past all of these different troops that we've got here. We've got a fair bit, so we'll sort of see how that one does go. Back on YouTube, sorry guys, I'm just going to Alt Tab across, go through the comments that are there. So. Okay, so Sam Spackman saying, finally got planes in a Shadow Empire game and discovered Vic gave planes that attack land force the line the Whiskey Tango Foxtrot at the end of the battle. So, yeah, so we've got the, that's the aeroplanes. So Tom is then saying, yeah, that was funny when I saw that, and saying killed their Warrior Knight. That's what did most of their damage. They did all of their damage, I think, in that first attack. Tom's saying definitely the Warrior Knight, even though it says unknown course, it's insta-kill. Yep, absolutely. They're brutal. They can even insta-kill your GR equipment. Yes, that's why we need to go in with lots and lots of chaff to be the targets when we do go up against these Warrior Knights. So Tom's saying losing a heavy hover tank to a Warrior Knight because he was too lazy to actually look at the enemies. You know, it's a big oof. Yes, it is indeed. Hi, Cecil. How are you going? Adrian saying, Guten Abend, Daz. Another day with the Australian simulator game. Here with the desert. Anyway, let's continue on. So that's now, we've now got our, we've now done the first attack. We're now up against the city. I would love to take these areas. I can push here if I need to. That one, I don't want to open this whole area up, so I do want to keep it back. These have to get their supplies from this road to get the troops replenished. So we've got a fair few that need to be replenished. There's 6 of them in total. So let's just end our turn and see how we go. What is it going to do? So the mutants are going to move, hopefully nowhere. Mutants have become annoying, and then we'll have to round them up. The easiest way to round them up is with armoured cars. Good, they're moving out from their city, and they moved away from that zone. So this is where the AI was clever. Instead of going in, because it couldn't really capture anything, if I had given it something it could capture, it possibly would have gone for it, but it couldn't have moved in far enough. So we suffered no losses, nor made any kills. Okay, so they didn't actually attack us. Your BP production is at 213 points, which is higher or equal to the 212 that we promised to our subjects. Scout team found a sealed silo near Deferac. So we've got 4 machinery has been secured. That's good. Admin level has risen to level 5. Only Fate pack on tech level increases. So we on regular difficulty plus. So we don't get any extra packs for that one. Got a new stratagem there, Medal of Merit. Just dismiss that. So yeah, that's all going well, and they didn't move up anywhere. So we'll just sort of stay on this line. I'll just move that one in to keep those under control. Now what's interesting here is that they actually went away from this zone. And now we've got a few different things here for when we do go in and attack the city. The city, we've got recon here of 151. Now remember, it's still not full information, but we can now see they've only got 4 infantry stacks there. Back and through here, and 2 of them aren't all that good. There's 2 that are good, like this one here is actually fairly good, with 3,300 warmongers, 500 war dogs, 2 warrior knights in that particular group, and 2 elite snipers. It's the warrior knights that we're concerned with. So we've got, how many warrior knights have we got? We've got 2, 4 in there, another 1,900 warmongers, 4, 5, 6 of them. So we've got 6 warrior knights that we need to concern ourselves with. If we have a look and see what's going on with this as well, when we have a look at each of these stacks, 100% readiness and entrenchment there of only 14, so they've only moved in there. 100 readiness and entrenchment there of 100, so they've actually entrenched well. This one is 84 readiness and 84 entrenchment, and this one's 100 and 100. So essentially they've got very, very good entrenchment, but in a poor location. So what we need to now do is soften them up. And sort of get them. Now's the time for us to take this particular city. What we want to do though is come in from different angles. So we will actually do a number of. We can tackle this a few different ways. Let's actually do a save here. So we can sort of I can save scum you to show save scum this so you can sort of see some differences. So DAS 02 that one and save. So with this one here, like if I we saw there that I need to try to keep all the same types of forces going in to make it so that it's effective. The first attack that I go in now, I've got 151 recon in here, and the better my recon in is before I do any artillery attacks, the better off we're going to be in terms of being able to then do an effective artillery attack. Now I've got 20 artillery there. I've got another 20 artillery there. So that's the artillery that I've got. Do I have any other artillery? I've got another 20 artillery there that I can move in to... should I just press the M key, just make sure I can move. So I can move that in as well and actually have that. So I've got essentially 60 artillery that can soften up their readiness. It won't really kill them. It will actually do damage to the city as well. Not that it matters that much about the actual city. But in this case, I can bring those in and then do a long-range attack. And the recon on that is 151. The closer I can get to 400, the better. So I can do that a few different ways. I could come in, for example, and just use one of my units to do an attack, and just sort of and it will get smashed, but it will also run away, and so it won't be a serious attack. It will only be like if I go and right click on that one, you can see the odds are 1 to 7. So these are terrible combat odds, but it may get our recon up high. So they've got very, very good recon. They can see exactly what's coming, but we don't have it. 151 is almost okay to just go in. So if I go in with that particular stack, or if I add that one into there, it's a 1.25 with 2 of these guys coming in, which is not ideal, but it can be, if I can get the odds up reasonably, I may be able to still make use of this. So what I'm thinking of doing here is maybe moving one more unit up. Let's just cancel this. And let's just do as a bit of an experiment. We'll move that one in, and now we'll do an attack with, and I'll move this one in as well. And so we'll go in with all 3 in this range to really just see if we can get the recon. The recon is now up to 167. Let's get that up as close to 400 as we can. So if I go in this way with this unit, and so I'm going to just choose all the reds in through here. Now this is going to be hard for them. It's nearly a 1-to-1 ratio here, but they're dug in. So I can do it this way if I wanted to. And so I've got the concentric bonus there of 40. I've got the, they've got an entrenchment bonus there of 77. So is this better than doing it the other way? Possibly not. I could actually just use the artillery. But if I go and attack this with this one,
Yes, sir.
we should retreat fairly fast. But we're going to take big losses here. So we ended up losing, we retreated with most of ours, so we have 28 subunits that retreated, but we lost 12, which is a big, big number, so that we don't really want that. And this, like in this case, they had a couple that ended up retreating, 3 retreated, but really we didn't do any real damage. If we just go and click on OK, in this instance now, we're now up to a recon that now there's nothing hidden on that location. So is it worth doing that and then doing the attack? And I would argue it's not, because we had reasonable recon there from the start, but now there's nothing hidden in here at all, so we can see everything that's actually going on. Their readiness will have dropped a little bit because of that attack anyway, so they're now slightly lower than what they were, but only slightly. Their entrenchment has dropped a little bit with that attack, but not very much at all. So in reality, that attack cost us a lot of troops for no real gain. The other thing we could have done to bring the recon up would be to move this unit up into one of these areas and had a look at that as well. But in this case, they've now all run. Their readiness is now shot because of the attack that they did. But we now actually have more information. So what I can do here is actually go in and do another attack with this unit. But I'm going to switch this to a ranged attack, and I can then bring in the. So with those odds, I can just bring in the various groups. Actually, we had one more that. I'll just cancel that. We had this group, which I was going to bring up as well. If I bring that one in, switch to the ranged attack, and then we have all 3 of these now doing the ranged attack. So in this case, we're just going to be firing with our artillery, and this will be to soften them up. And so if we just do the ranged attack, now I can see everything, but all of the warrior knights are still pretty much in place. we're now running out of space. We are getting some hits, but not a hell of a lot.
Yes, sir. Roger that, sir.
When you do this as well, like if we have a look at the messages in through here, you'll see there that we didn't actually kill any free folk or workers. We did kill 600 population. We did actually 189 damage to the assets in the hex. So the farming dome survived the attack with 63 damage points. Transport hub also got it, and the light industry. So actually that's all they do actually have in this particular location. So anyway, we did suffer, we made a bit of damage in with them, but what we've got to hope for is that with the, if we look at the text to see, yeah, so when we have a look at the defender, hardly made any difference there at all. So this one really didn't soften them up very much. So it did minimal damage. So really we haven't achieved anything with that. And we're back to square one with what are we going to do with this attack that we now still need to dislodge them. So this has not been very effective because we sort of pretty much knew what we're going to get anyway. So in this case, even with high recon, the artillery that we've got just isn't strong enough to really carry the day. So let's just go back out and load in the other game. So I'll just quit and load. So, but that's one way of, like, you can use attacks to get your recon up if you need it. Just going to grab myself a drink of water, be right back. So we really shouldn't expect much from the various artillery anyway, to be honest. Like, the artillery is not going to be all that impactful, but we'll just move it up anyway. So we can, we've got 167 recon there. If I move this up into this zone, the recon here is up to now 241, which is actually okay. Like, this is actually good numbers for doing the artillery strikes. So if I go across and if I just do a right click and then switch and then just go and grab all the artillery again, I'll still just fire on that location. So we do have still got good recon even with this. So I'm just going to do the ranged attack.
Fire.
Getting a couple of hits. See how we're getting a lot less hits though than what the other group got. So we didn't get as many hits. So anyway, that's now sort of done. We just go and click on OK. Artillery shouldn't really raise the what we have. So the recon on that amount is still the same. Because it's long range, we don't really get to see what's actually in there. Now, what I could do is I can now bring in an actual, like a proper attack. So I don't actually have one there that this one can then go and do, unfortunately. God, I'm tempted to... I mean, this one here will. I think I'm going to mix my forces up and just go in with everyone. That one's really struggling. That one's still going okay. You've got a 2.8 to 1 odds there already. If I just grab those two. Yeah, so I've pushed them out. We lost a few there actually, which isn't great. We've got a 12 to 1. And it's got nowhere to run to. Just the dogs. And it's broken. There we go. So we've cleaned them out. The tank can now can be part of this attack. So that's now opened up. So there's no longer any zone of control back in this way. It's still got 4 action points, so 40% of its points are still there. Again, we've got problems there. I can attack that there. Look, for the sake of what we end up, the benefit we end up with that group is just not really worth it. These are still too far away to be helpful. These are more defensive, to be honest. There's 50 of these. I mean, they're good, but they're just not really going to be helpful with what we have. I think we just go in with everything, to be honest. You can see we get big odds here, but we just need to, again, just get more chaff coming back in. 34, I'll introduce the reds. That takes them back down again, but we are starting to now get, in this case, we're not getting that, you know, that we've got too many. I won't bring them in. I don't want to risk them, but I'll bring those in. Hardly any change now with what we're doing, but there's a lot of attackers going in. We only got 30% concentric because we're mixing the different groups. What would be interesting here is if I got rid of the orange. Sorry, if I got rid of the red. What do we end up with? 39 to 1. No, it's still not really working. I'll still go the other way. Bring all of those in. So we'll bring like a heap of them in now to, this will now take the city. So we'll do the attack. Lots of damage being done back to us. They actually held on. They actually won that one. So even with those massive odds, they just, with all of these warrior knights, they ended up being able to kill it. So this is still probably not really what we want, but you can see there that our guys all ended up running out of the way. We still actually have all of these, but we lost an enormous amount there. We lost 25 subunits. So that's also wasn't really all that great a way of doing it. And we actually lost, in this case, Prudence actually was part of the combat and came in to help out, and so we've lost her as well. I'm definitely not going to go ahead with that one as well. But this one I need to build up before I do go in. So what I'm going to do actually in this one now is just going to click on OK, is I didn't leave myself enough action points with what we have, and now we're decimated. It's going to take us turns and turns to be able to dislodge them from here. So it can be quite tricky when you do actually have these mixes with the feats and stuff. So I'm going to get my artillery to try to get closer. It may take a few turns here. Let's just go and do the actual one now. So just go and quit the game. So I didn't have enough action points with my other tanks to carry the day. So if we just go into load to save game, and so what we can do is we don't have to rush this. So if we just go and open it up, losing that sort of numbers is really poor. Like it makes it very difficult for us to be able to then sort of go in. So as we move, remember, as we move, bad things happen. So what we need to do is we need to now surround the city, leaving them one area that they can get out from. So we'll spend this turn to affect that. Orange has to end up doing the attack. And so I need to use the orange abilities to then kill these sorts of units off. I can do that with just my tanks. 30 to 1 attacking through here against this little motorbike group. So they've smashed that one. Now, if I leave that one, I can still move this one up into this position for an attack next turn. It's still got high readiness. So I can move that one up. This one here can finish this one off. Yep, and we lost nothing there. And so they can now also move up towards the attack. The artillery is not going to be able to do much, so I'm going to move them up. The armoured car, now we've got this group as well, which has not been impacted at all by anything. I do actually have like a militia group there that can't go into the mountains because of the trucks that they've got, and the bikers. The bikers can't go into the mountains either. And so in this case, I'm just going to keep them where they are, but I need to get the orange forces up. So they're going to now move up to there, but see their readiness is down to 43, so we've still got a bit of time we need to then go and do things. This group is weak. They're down to 23. So what I can do they have any warrior knights? No, they don't. So in this case, I don't need much to be able to really push this. I could even just use this group and maybe use that group with the group of tanks, like to sort of to have this one come back up. And if I go and click on that one, it's 50 to 1. Actually, I do have another orange group there. Look, I might as well do that. Although, I do have this as well. I'll attack this one. That moves them back. Now what we need to do is we need to make sure that we're coming in with orange from this northern sector as well. So I'm going to move that group there. I need to get more orange. I've got one orange over this side. I've got that orange that can go into there. So now I've got them surrounded by orange, but I've got readinesses down in here. So this is actually now poor. So I need that one to also come in and surround the attack. I'm thinking we actually use the troops rather than just the artillery here. So let's move them into a position where these can actually then do their own attack from different angles. I'll use red for different angles in through here as well. Not that that matters that much. I'll just move up so we can sort of see, okay, there's another group there. This is Presius, which is another minor culture unknown. But I'll keep these just looking at the recon of the actual city. I need this one's up to 306 just with shuffling. We haven't even attacked the city yet. If I close off this, if I attack that and surround it, it means they can't get any more troops into the city. But it also means that we can't that they won't be able to retreat, which means they'll fight harder. So if we give them an avenue of retreat, I'm surprised they didn't retreat from that last big attack that we did, actually. I thought we still would win it. But in this case, this one we're going to be, as long as we can get on top of all of the readiness, we're going to be fine. So we're coming in with different angles, all sorts of different things coming back in. So we've got, like, at the moment, any sort of attack would be very, very poor. So let's leave that for a turn. We'll move this one up into a position as well. And so we want to get the orange into a position where we're coming in with different angles. So I'm going to move that orange up. I've got two reds in there as well. I can move that red down to there. So I can actually split it up and come in with different attacks from the different groups. Unfortunately, this red can't be part of this attack. So we've got that one in through there. Yep, so Bad Me is saying I need to remodel the tanks to have better soft attacks. Yeah, we don't have a model designer at this stage with what we have. If we have a look at the first Abrams, so these have got the howitzer gun, which is actually, these ones are pretty good already for infantry. There's like an anti-tank gun, and then there's a howitzer gun. The howitzer is the anti-infantry, and you can see there the attack it has against soft targets is high, whereas against hard targets it's low. So it's pretty much already as good as we're going to get at this stage of the game. Those particular tanks. So anyway, that's where we are there. Everything else is sort of set up, and so again, she actually ended up. Now we definitely don't want her to be taken out because she's a cap 4, and she's got low heroism. I'm surprised that she participated in that battle. Usually, if their heroic abilities are low, her ambition is high though. I actually don't want her in this role in the long term. I want her out of there. She's too good to leave in that capacity. Then we've got Ian Thallimate, who is Cap 2. He's more what you'd expect. So he's sort of more the type that you're looking for in through there. I don't really want to bring anyone else in and have her sit on the sidelines. So we just prepare better, and then in the next phase, hopefully the readiness will then come up. We may have to even wait 2 turns to get everything 100%. The fact that they're warmongers also makes me think it would be good to maybe close it off just so they can't bring in the reinforcements. But yeah, I don't think I will. I think I'll just leave it there. Let's just go back to our replacement troops. We've got 400 of those left, 400 of those. Let's just go and get more grunts. So maybe another 6. Just in case they do an attack. You can see there that they're surrounding this particular stack. This stack's at 59. Entrenchment, because it moved in there, was at 25. Maximum entrenchment for that rocky plains is 100, which is the same as what they've got in there. So I think that's okay. Like the fact we could move this one up just to give it some support. Like this is not really a big problem down the bottom here because we've got this one blocked in. It could move off this way, but I don't think we have to really concern ourselves too much with it. All right, let's end our turn there. So we're not attacking this turn. We're just preparing. Suffer no losses. Rare metals. I need water. And water's what we're looking for here. We've discovered a new tech, the helicopter engine. By changing a propeller design into a much larger rotor design, we should be able to design helicopters. Not interested in this. This is actually the trap of research and discovery. This is not something that we want to be looking at all. Your organization faction generated 2 new stratagems, so that's fine. And we have supply problems. You can see that little black in through there. So unit with low supply. 1 or more units have supply problems amongst the first SHQ. You should check the logistical points. We'll just dismiss that one. Ammo, producing ammo. We're relatively okay. So I've actually let the ammo go. Oh yes, this is bad. So the ammo is I must have done that save at another time. So the ammo is got troubles with supply, and I'm assuming that that's what, because I was thinking, why I've got problems with supply. I think something has used ammo and can't get the supply to them. So what we'll do is we'll just go to the replacements are fine. We'll just go to the workshop and just go and generate a little bit more ammunition.
Yes, sir. Roger that, sir.
I will have to get the ammo factory built, I think. If we just go back into here and just go to construction. So so with construction through here, with industry, ammunition factory, doesn't really chew up a hell of a lot. I'm going to start construction there now. I've got a fair few machines available, so we don't have to sort of manufacture or construct those. That way we won't have to think about the ammunition much. They've now moved back away, which is actually good for us. It then allows us to sort of push up a little bit and just sort of keep them on the back. This one's not going to be able to participate in the battle anyway. So still got only 4 units back in through here. We're now surrounding this one fairly well. Again, I can't really do anything with this. So there's nothing much that they can do. I might as well not even bother, to be honest, because we should be over and done with. Now, if we have a look at the what's actually happening with the ammunition, and we can see the one thing I don't like about the game is I'm a bit colorblind. I can't see the difference between the green and yellow very much. I find it really, really difficult. If we see green, it means that they've got full supply. In fact, we can sort of see down there, the supply is 100% there. But somebody is not getting full supply. So there is a unit somewhere on the map that will be either yellow or black. Like in this one here, you can sort of see the black that's going in with the supply. If I go and click on the supply through there, it's got... So it sent actually it sent everything out, the zone back into the SHQ, everything came back in, and the SHQ out to the units, everything went back out. So it's all okay. So I don't know what the problem is. It's got to be ammunition. One of the units has got to have suffered because it didn't get enough ammunition that turn, and it's got to be one of the artillery units, I would guess. Actually, we didn't use the artillery, did we? Not sure which unit it is, but one of them will be yellow, I'm assuming. I'm not seeing it. It would be one of the ones that did some attacking last turn. Okay, so we've now got this particular group has now come back in again. So their readiness is 100, 100, 100, and 100. Oh, sorry, 97 back in through there. 2 warrior knights, 2, 4, 5, 6. So we've got 6 warrior knights we have to then concern ourselves with, but we do actually have a massive attack that we can then go and do. So we could try to soften them up, unless we want to use these militia troops to actually start to whittle them down a little bit with an attack. And I'm thinking I might even just do that one. We've got a number of these independent militia groups which have got their some of them have got bikers, they've got militia forces, they've got artillery. Some of them have got tanks as well, I think. They've got buggies. So these are a fairly effective little fighting force. Let's just go and make use of them, because let's go and soften them up, not with the artillery attacks, but by using the artillery in an actual land attack. So if I go in and grab that one, and the 7, and there should be another one, that one there. So these are all of the... these are not great with the concentric, so they've got a good concentric bonus in through here, but this hopefully will just soften them up. So this will then sort of cause them a bit of issues. This should be more effective than just sending in just the artillery on their own. But the artillery will still actually be participating in this fight. So we'll do the attack in this way. And these are a bit expendables. And if they, then we may get lucky. Yeah, a lot of them are now retreating. They're still doing very, very well here. So they did really well. Even the artillery actually did get hits, multiple hits in with what actually happened with what went into the actual fight. That one has retreated. That one's still in the fight. So we've still got one warrior there. That one's still there. Oh no, that one retreated as well. That one's staying. That one retreated. All right. So we've got a there's going to be a smaller portion now of units that we have to now contend with. In fact, they'll probably still be in the group, but they'll just be, their morale will be worse. Not so much these units, but they'll still get attached to another unit. So it looks like we didn't actually kill any of those, did we? Yeah, we killed minimal. We only killed we killed off 7 subunits, but the fact that 33 units are retreating or have retreated means that their readiness will now be really, really low, which means that when we go in with the real attack, it's going to be fine. The 5 messages we have, we can see there that we actually did 255 damage to assets in the hex because we went in with artillery. So we've actually now done some damage to all of the stuff that was in there. Recon has now gone through the roof, so we now can see everything for when we do the real attack. So that was just to soften them up with with militia forces. Now we go in with what we really have. So this one here, readiness is 52, 70, 68, and 63. So and their entrenchment is now dropped as well through that particular attack. So there's hardly any entrenchment. So they're now much weak, than what they were before. And all we really used were the units with the artillery attached to them. So that sort of worked out fairly well. Now we go and do our real attack. That one there doesn't want to move in. Now, this one, the readiness is still coming up. I'll go onto the road. It should give it a little bit more action points. Yeah, I'll come in with orange to start with. You see, even just with the tanks, like even that's actually doing, has got pretty good odds. Throw that one in. And if I go in with just the orange, we're going to come in from all sorts of different angles here. And so that's a 34-1 odds in through there as well, but with the tanks now coming in. And if we have to, I can then just leave the red in reserve to then come in and sort of help out with the rest of the attack. So we're using essentially unit by unit, just coming in with the different odds. So that's going to sort of be fine where we are there. We'll just do the attack. Suffering a lot here, but a lot of them are running now. Yeah, and we did it. So we've got through there. We suffered a lot of losses in our artillery. The tanks did a good job. Only one tank actually ended up retreating in what actually ended up happening, and so we've now taken the city essentially because they've lost a 15 subunits. What did we lose? Total of 8, and they look like they're all just going to be infantry. Infantry is easy for us to replace. Tanks not so much. So that was effective. That was fine, but we did chew through replacements. We can't replace the militia from the first attack, but that's now carried the day. So we'll just go and click on OK. And in this case, Devon Mate, or is it Devon Cron? Devon Mount is now under our control. So what we want to do is we want to now move in with some troops just to sort of keep it under control there for a small amount of time. These units will now disappear, and we'll end up with with whatever they ended up having will be under our control. If you look at the assets, so we have this is damage 171 points with that attack. You can see there, this is a level 3, so it's actually the damage is that little red bar on the side there. It's completely inoperable at 600 points and 100% certain loss of assets at 1600 points. But this is actually this is fine. The transport hub that was in there is almost destroyed, and the light industry is also almost destroyed. But that's actually okay where we are. We end up with some free folk in through there around there as well. So that's all right. And ultimately, that's going to be the border for this particular group. Now, I can change the border, and I'll wait a turn, but we'll end up with their full area will then end up being what we end up with. We then have to figure out what we're going to do next, and probably will have to be the farmers, because they also then have, this particular town also has the same stuff, and it has a hospice in through there as well. So this is, what does that one do? Yeah, this is health. So they've got a health building at that location. So it's not fantastic what they've got, but at least that's now a start. And it sort of takes us up towards the middle of the map. If we have a look at the strategic map, I would love to find that lake, but it could be anywhere through here. So we're still a long way off finding that particular one. Just move that one back. Got 2 decisions to make. So Supreme Command Council task priorities. Now we've got a lot of political points. Having said that, I prefer to actually change what he gets to do rather than actually. So he's got too many points coming in. So he's getting stratagem cards. He's the only way we're really getting strat cards at this point in time. I'm just going to confirm that he's 50-50, but I'm going to call the secretary to bring other things in. Now Martha is the director of the research council. This is the trap. This is the trap, guys. If you do set it up where you've got like practically no discovery. Sorry, you've got 0 discovery or one point in discovery, and then everything else in research. You still, if you don't want helicopter engines, choose no target, because otherwise you're going to then start to push all of your bureaucratic points into research. And I'll show you what I mean. Actually, before we do that, let's go and call the secretary and change the national budgets. Just quickly go and do that. At the moment, we've got 30%, 30%, 40%. I sort of want to get this one down a bit now, so I'm just going to go and change this one down to maybe sort of like around about, say, 30%. And I'll just go and lock that one in, and then I'm just going to go and even up these. I could even almost leave it at that, 35, 35, 30. I might just do that and confirm this one. I don't think I want this one any further back, but I do want these to keep on exploring and keep on finding things. So we'll confirm that one. We've got to find more water. That's really going to get quite critical. All right. So with this one here, if we go back to the reports, what's actually happening here is that we've got like a certain amount of bureaucratic points being split between the Economic Council and the Military Research Council. We're not researching anything yet, and so even though we've put all of the actual percentage of what we end up getting, like of the 35% of the bureaucratic points that we get, 34.7 is going to be put into research when we research something. Otherwise, it all goes back into discovery. I still need to do more discovery. If I go back to the management cards in through here and have a look at the text, helicopter engines on this planet are really unimportant. They're unimportant anyway at this point, at this turn. If we end up discovering turboprops, again, I don't want it. These are not areas that we need to go. And so even though we discovered helicopter engines, I'm really looking for combat armor, side skirts, a few other things, like even the Gauze small arms, things like this, guided RPGs, potentially rocketry maybe, but gas-powered small arms. These are the sorts of stuff that I'm really looking for. High-speed machine guns are great. So that if I find something like that, I'll then commit to it, but I won't commit to it at all any other way. So this is actually not something that we're actually looking for. So in this case, if I go back to the map and have a look at with this one through here, with my decision-making, no, we're not going to be, I don't care about it. So don't fall into the trap of just always picking something. This is a very, very valid thing to do if you're trying to discover something particular. So there we go. No research target, which means everything is back in discovery again. All right, so now where are we? Sorry, there's I've missed a lot of comments again. Sorry, guys. Just do an @DasTactic if you want to grab me. So Dukes has come in as a supporter. Thank you, Dukes. For that. Now, what do we get to? The YouTube chat is not as crazy as the other chat. So I think the text report in the corner breaks that down by unit type. It says, yeah, we're probably now. I don't know if we can go back to that. If we go back to our reports and HQs, is it in here? I don't know if we get the. I forget where the actual where the combat reports end up. They are in here. Management, are they under this way? History. Not sure where the combat reports actually are, as such. Yeah. So Benny's just asked, why are we not going with aircraft? I'll show you that in just a minute. So yeah, that's the videos of what we ended up finding. Let's go back to the map. I forget where the combat reports are stored. It's models. Organizations. We're talking about under there. Zones. I thought it would be under this. The combat reports, but I'm not sure where they're stored. I know that they're stored somewhere. Regimes. I mean, we find this is the information we have on the enemy. So we do actually have different things we can look at with this. But yeah, I'm not sure where they actually are. Okay, let's talk about the planets. So Bond's saying it's a thin atmosphere pressure makes flying hard. It mentions what would be viable. So yeah, let's do a deep dive and explain what's going on through here. This is the planet statistics overview. As we went through and built everything, like this is actually what we started with the a hot planet, hot desert world. In this case, it's 1.27 AU away. And we can see there the gravity of 0.53. So when you're first designing the planets, you can sort of get a guide from this whether it's going to be viable or not. So look at the gravity, then look at the by the time you get to biosphere, you should then have a number of the air pressure. See how this is 500, or this is 0.51 millibars, which is lower than the 0.53. So that then is showing that the air pressure is slightly low, a little bit. The other giveaway when you actually are looking at it is the wind speed. If you look at the wind speed on this one through here, actually you can see it there, there's the millibars there. So if you end up with on the geology page, because this is actually where the viability for flight becomes, it's either for there or not. If you end up with a smaller number, so again, a millibars means basically 1,000th, so 518 millibars is 0.51 bars, which if you have a look at, and if you have if this was 0.53, it would sort of be okay-ish, maybe, not really. But if it was 0.6, like if it was, say, 600 millibars, then we know that there's a denser atmosphere than the gravity allows. And even often on sort of lowish gravity worlds, it can still not be that great. Like big worlds may have a denser atmosphere, but in this case, the 4 meters per second wind speed indicates there's really not a lot of pressure on the planet. And so this is a good indicator. Usually if it's 6 meters per second or higher, it means it's viable for aircraft. So typically that's what I look at on this screen is if it's 4 meters per second, I know I'm not really going to be looking at aircraft with what actually does happen. Biosphere then just sort of, it really is just what it's made up of. But those first two screens will dictate whether the gravity and the air pressure are enough to make aircraft viable, and the wind speed is reflected on that. If we come back through, if we go to the planetary statistics, we can then sort of see it's in through here as well. After you've actually generated the world, you'll then be able to get a lot of really useful information. So gravity is 0.5, atmospheric density is 52%, which essentially is that millibars that we saw there before. So essentially it's 0.53, 52%, same sort of deal. So it's very close, but it's really not all that great. So it says aircraft advised is propeller or jet. If we had if we had no atmosphere at all, that would say rocket, because it's still viable. It's sort of just squeaking in as being something we could do if we had to, but in reality on this world it's just not viable. If we go and have a look, because we started off at Tech Level 4, we still do start off with, if we go to the management screen and go to models, it did design for us a recon air flight back in through here, this buzzer. If I go and have a look at the buzzer, don't know if I can right click on that one. There we are. So we can actually sort of see its stats. This is a little ultralight that was designed for us. And this has a maximum operating range of 7 hexes, which is tiny. So so 7 hexes is like the 50-50. This is what you're going to get. So it's not really all that great. And as we start to put more weight on the aircraft with other types of weaponry, we really, at 7 hexes, it's just not viable. So that's why. And so, yes, we could possibly end up designing something that would work a little bit. Helicopters aren't so bad because helicopters don't have to go back to an airfield. They can sort of stay with you. And so we could do the helicopters and get the benefit of having helicopters, but in reality, I prefer to just use on this planet. I think armoured cars are going to do the job better for us, so I don't really need to go that way with them. And I don't think the AI will be using aircraft. If they do, it'll only be very, very close to their cities. If they end up using them at all, they may still use them. But anyway, for us, it's just not something we need to focus on. It doesn't really sort of work. Hope that makes sense. But that's sort of why, in this case, aircraft aren't viable. Like if I generated another world, let me do a save. I love generating worlds in this game, so we'll just go and save back over the top of this one. And we'll quit the game. So and I'll just show you what I mean by this. If we start a new game, and we were starting, I'm pretty sure, with a desert world. So if we go to Seth, continue. So we're just doing a desert world, sort of like what we started. So 0.36 gravity. So very, very low gravity in this case. Continue. Wind speed of 1 meters per second, and we have 316 millibars. This indicates that aircraft are going to be shit on this particular world. I mean, if I just go continue all the way through with this one, it's not going to be all that great, I wouldn't think. And we will be able to see again when we first come in. Doesn't matter what we do there. So if we go to reports, help, planetary statistics, so that you got the 0.4 gravity, atmospheric density 32%, which is why it's really, really crappy there. Have a look at our models. Look at the recon air fights. This is a spotter plane. This one travels at 4 hexes, so this is even worse. So, really, it's just not worth it. So, so this is even worse again. So, if you just generate those sorts of planets, you can then sort of see. Like, let's just see if we can pick one up that is. This is an interesting start, actually. Oh, there's landing. That's actually when you create the. If you see landing ruins, this is where the first planetfall was when they first came, like hundreds and hundreds of years in the past. This is actually where. So we've in this particular start, we've started on top of where the first colonists came to the actual world itself, which is I find these little things really, really cool in the game. Anyway, let's just go back out. Let's go and quit the game. Just go yes. Start a new game. I'll choose like a different type of world. I mean, if I choose any of the barren worlds, there's no atmosphere at all anyway. So these ones here don't have any sort of atmosphere. Let's just go to unclassified. Just go continue. Don't know really what you're going to go and get. So 0.25 gravity. So very, very low gravity. And quite often with low gravity, you end up with very low. Actually, this one here is higher. So 313 millibars. So it's still only 1 meters per second. And that usually is the giveaway. It's just not really going to be viable. This one is going to have some vegetation. But that's when the millibars is actually higher than the gravity. Just going to start the game. But this is a very, very low G world. But I love that it's the actual, the planetology thing is the important aspect about everything. In this case, we started right next to water, even though that looks muddy, but that's actually that would be a fairly helpful start in that sort of sense. So in this case, we're looking at 0.2 gravity, but the atmospheric density is actually higher than the gravity. So this one, the planes should be a little bit more viable. If we go into this one here, models, recon, the spotter craft. Yeah, it's back out to 7 hexes again with this one through here. Let's go to a larger planet where the gravity is higher. So if we go and sort of make it viable there, so we just go back out and quit the game. Start new game. I don't know why I didn't choose a unclassified. I do like unclassified are funny. Let's just go to the normal to large size. Let's go this way. Continue. This one we should end up with gravity around about 75. This one's 65. The density again. If you look at the, I'll do it till we get like high wind. 10 meters per second. Here we go. So you see how this one, in this case, the millibars are way higher than the gravity. So now we're going to see, this is a planet that is made for aircraft. So this is, just go continue. And that wind speed is such a good indicator as to what you're going to get. So we do have things in through here. Biosphere you can keep on re-rolling, to get different, depending on the how long the planet has been around. It won't, if it's a very, very young world, it's not going to work. But if it's otherwise, you can keep on re-rolling to get forests and all sorts of different things in that sort of phase. But we'll just keep on going. Okay, here we go. Again, I love how different the planets end up being. Like this is, this is a big grassland planet with lots and lots of water, with a river that runs through 2 different oceans, or 2 different major lakes or something, with a reservoir in the middle there. Again, whenever it says ruins, this is actually like a historic part of the world. But if we have a look again at the reports, back in through here again, just go to help, planetary statistics, so 0.6 versus 82% atmospheric density. If we go back into our models, look at the recon for this one. This one here, 10 hexes. So this is actually now becoming more viable with what it can actually then go and do. So it's you can see there with that the atmospheric pressure does make a big difference, but for what we're playing on, it's not the best. So anyway, that's a bit of a deep dive, I guess, into what to look for as you're designing planets. So just go back out, quit the game. By the way, if you generate worlds and you like them, you can actually there is actually a, if I go to save game, there is actually last planet generated. So if when you generate a world, you may want to, if you're thinking, oh, gee, I wouldn't mind playing that again, or whichever way, you can actually go and grab that last planet generated as well, and then just keep that one called something different if you like the look of it. I did one once where I generated a Dune type world, and it was had giant worms, and I thought, oh, I should save it. I don't know if I did. It'll be down the bottom here. These go way back. No, I must have got rid of it. Yeah, I've got some there that were probably for saving. But anyway, that's okay. We'll just load in this one. Load in where we are. But yeah, it's sort of like 7 is average-ish, but with the 10 would be worth pursuing with and seeing what you can then go and do, because they can become a bit more viable. Now, how are we going with our Deep Cron? Civ score here is still 6. Quality of life is coming up. that should push this up. The civilization score should be raising, actually, as it does come up. Yeah, everyone's pretty happy on the world. So yeah, this barbaric section we should be getting that next level of civilization fairly soon. Although now we have this one now coming back in as well, which we now have to take into account that we're not going to get the civ score up to 2 with this one on 0. But anyway, we've only just taken this, so we'll sort of let things sort of develop. So this one's got a little way to go. We'll see how we go. Yeah, it may have been better for me to wait until we push that up. But anyway, let's just stay where we are. Confederations, I don't think they're going to backstab us. What have we got in there? Is that a major? Oh no, sorry, this is the one we're at war with. So I don't need to do anything else here. I can just sort of keep them away from where they are. What I might do is actually come back now and actually look for more opportunities back in this area. And we'll look to destroy these, because they're just going to be annoying. So we might actually just come back with a small group to defeat those. In terms of what we have, if I just go back into here again, got good oil. We've got metals are good, industry's good. I think it might be time to get some more armoured cars, because they're going to be able to absolutely rip through these. So if we get another couple of sections of armoured cars, I'll grab them from here. So if we go and raise a formation, now when you start the game, we've got battalion selected. That should be by default. It shouldn't. It starts on default with regiment. Always make sure you're with battalion at the start of the game. We don't want anything more than this. And we're looking for the armoured cars. Now it doesn't matter what the design is like with what we end up having. So we've got the buggies there. Now I can only get 53% of the buggies at that point, and that may be logistics. Yeah, logistics aren't good enough at that location. So just go back, cancel. So the closer I go to, in fact, what I should normally do is turn on the current points, which is just the L key, just to see what the logistic points actually are. So just so I can sort of tweak things. And we're getting to the point now with the roads coming up. So maybe we'll talk a little bit about logistics and get things sort of working the way that we want them to work. I don't need a hell of a lot coming back down. In fact, if we have a look at the used points, we'll then sort of see what's being drained off these particular locations. For these roads here, I don't need them to be anything more than what the drain is down this particular road. So I've got like 6 going off that way, 100 going back into this mine, 25 going into this one because we've got it on a like we're not actually getting all of the fuel from there just yet. We're trying to save a bit of the energy. Energy is going up really quite nicely at this stage. Now we're going to, it's all going to change next turn, but let's get our logistics under control. So you can see down through, if I just press number 1, we can then sort of see a bit more clearly as to the actual what's happening in through here. If I press the Z key, so sorry, that's zone border. What's the what do I need to do here with the initial points? Just go back to this one here. Construct, colonize. I forget where this actually is. Sorry. Group move. Yep. So this is strategic. So traffic signs allows you to place and remove traffic signs. What traffic signs do is it allows me to go back in and change what happens with the with what's going to be shuffled down along the points. So when we're back in here, there's 4 roads that leave this location, and it equally essentially draws the same amount of pressure along the actual road itself. And so down along this small road, if I just go back into this one, I've got like 106, maybe if I can get it to about 150 of the full logistics that we actually have. Logistics is coming from the truck station that we actually have in the city. Again, if I just go and close through here, you can see that we've got 2,400 logistical points using truck movement points have been generated in the hex. We can also have rail as well at some point, which we probably will start to look at because these plants are usually very, very good for having rail. So we, in this stage, we've got essentially no pressure coming back in for the pull points are being drawn out from the different units. If we were struggling with all of our actual logistics, it would then be relying on pull points. But at the moment, we've got so much logistics. We've got like a plethora of it, so we just got it going all over the place. But I really want it to be moving to the north, and maybe out this way as well. But you can see we're not really doing too much. So in this case, if I make that one say go 20%, so click to use the traffic sign, or I can actually, if I go and say block, click to use the traffic sign to stop all logistical points leaving the hex in this direction. What I don't want it to do is I want the pull points to get through. So I'm going to allow the pull points to go through. So click to toggle on or off the use of traffic signs for specific usages. These settings are hex wide and apply in all directions. So we're allowing truck logistics and rail logistics, but pull points won't be affected. If I go and click on all, that we've now blocked off anything other than pull points going that way, block that one off and block that one off. That's then going to push everything back up this road. If I just go back out again, and if we go and see what's going to happen with the next move, this is more confusing than it actually is, believe it or not. If I go back to the preview points, we can then sort of see that we end up with 106 points going to there. At that point, 100 points go off that way, and 6 points get filtered off to the unit that's back over this other side. This one is pulling 25 points. Even though we blocked everything, you can see there the pink is blocking everything, it's pulling what it needs. So we're blocking normal, we're blocking the spread of that. Now, if I go back to the current points again, look, we're getting 400 points down through there. 500 reaches there and sort of bounces then back in again. 400 to there, 400 there, another 400 odd in there as well. So it's being split up all over the place. By going into and using the block that we've now got 2,000 points moving along this road. Again, we hit this junction, and it then is going to divide. The only pull points we have along this road is units. So we're going to go back in with Z again, and with T of the traffic signs. We're going to take the pull points off from here as well, and we're going to block this one off as well. And so in this case, the pull points are going to continue along that main road. I could leave a little bit extra because there's an army group there, maybe 90%. So I'll just I'll allow a little bit extra to go through that particular one, or the potential for it to be a little bit extra. So there's 81 now moving down that way, which we only need 25. So 25 is all we require. At this stage, again, I don't need all of the points going up that way, but let's just go and allow pull points to do what they're going to do. And in this case, we're going to maybe sort of make it so we've got, say, 60% is being sort of pulled off at that stage. So we've still got 240. And the reason I'm doing that is because when we attack these guys, we're going to need to have logistics moving out this way. These aren't stored. These are just what happens turn by turn. If we don't have logistics to do what we have to do, then we've got like 73 being drawn from there, another 5 being drawn off for the different units that are back out this way. We then get to this point. We don't need this road at all. We do actually have some more points being pulled from there, but we can just go into this one. Don't affect the pull points, but just block everything off in that regard. We've now got 1,800 now moving up into Devon Mount. So this will be important for us. So we now actually have, along that road there, we have all of the truck points really are being sort of shuffled across. Now the truck points do run out at some point. It may be worth at some stage for us to actually shorten the roads and actually build them coming back up. The mountains are always a problem, so it may be worth even going to there and then going straight up. That's probably going to be the best way to build this road. Road points, only do it if you've got like a lot of industrial points, but in this case we start to lose points there, so I'm thinking that will be the limits with where we go. And so you can see there at this point we're receiving 453 truck points, and we should start to see extensions. There's different breaks in through there as well. These will have an impact. Sent 110. So we're now gone above the actual points that were allocated. That's all right. We can see that it diminishes after a certain amount of time. If we could chop off that portion of the road, we wouldn't have that loss. But moving through the dunes can be fairly expensive for road building. So let's actually not worry too much about that one. We can certainly make it so that ends up being a lot better. And we could even build a rail ultimately through here between these two locations as this one builds up. Anyway, that's the that's the future logistic points. If we just go back to current, we actually are running out at this point here anyway. We're running out at this point. So I've got a fair amount in through here. So I can actually go, like the 400 logistics points we have at that location, I can just go back into my raised formation in here, and we should then hopefully be okay. You can get 100% of the buggies at this location. So this one's going to cost me 120 industry, and that's really the one factor that's a concern to us. Actually, we've only got, like, I should point out this as well. The reason buggies are so good is that you get, and trucks are the same, you end up, when you build them, it's going to cost me 500 people to actually build them, but in reality only 200 get left there. So we end up getting a lot of people back. So it doesn't require as many people driving these buggies around. So if I go in and actually build this one, everything is actually good for that one. So we'll just raise the formation. So if I just press number 1, we've now got this group of buggies, which is now back in through there. And I'll be wanting to get another group as well, but down to 278. So we end up getting a lot of this, and you see there the recruits that we've still got 1,000 recruits. And so if we have a look at this particular buggy, at the group that we actually have in through there, I don't know if it shows the actual people that are there, but it's the building of the buggies that takes up the people, but not the actual running of them. And so buggies are a bit unique in this sense. So Bob was saying, can you just use the pull points like Star Major suggesting? Sorry, where was that? Star Major saying, why is pull points not the default logistic mode? You've got 2,000 trucks in your city, and just what is needed goes out. The rest stays so that you have an idea of when you run out, instead of everything going everywhere by default. It doesn't actually work that way. You've got to get your head into a different mindset. It's actually, I'll try to explain the way it works. I guess it would block all roads and just, yeah. So they're not actually, it's the capacity is what you're doing. It's you're allocating capacity. And so, and trains, and weren't trains much more fuel efficient? Yes, they are. Yeah, we've trapped that. That's exactly right. So the way, logistics is probably the hardest thing in this game to get your head around, actually how it does work. So I like to keep the logistics points. What this is essentially the commitment to the trucks on the road of what they can deliver. And so when we use something like we've actually used some logistics points to get this group of armoured cars in here, you can see that most of the stuff is coming back because we use it to start to build it, but we then get so we have to have it in reserve to build it, but we get that one back. But in this case, by default, I would prefer to have pull points turned off, to be honest, so that when you're doing traffic signs, it's not actually applied. But the traffic signs are really so you can actually have more micromanagement over the logistics, which actually is extremely helpful. As you can see through here, they're just all over the place. We don't really have enough going to the front line. And this is essentially, like the way that Vic describes it, is that it's not one truck leaving here and then travelling all the way along this road. What it is you've got trucks at every juncture. Like, so there's trucks, like if you imagine the trucks actually being housed on the borders, and so it's the amount of trucks that you've allocated for those border crossings. And so when it goes from there to there, it unloads the trucks at that point and brings them into the trucks at this point, and then loads them into that one there. Every hex is 300 kilometres, and so that's sort of the way that you've got to visualise it. That's why they diminish over time. It's not just one truck leaving here and going all the way up. It's a group of trucks at every juncture being controlled by the truck station. So it's sort of different. So it's actually a different mindset, the way it works. The pull points are there for like if there's, let's just say that we run out of logistic points back up through here. In fact, if we go and have a look at the logistics just to see what's going on there, if I go to used points, we should start to see that there'll be a lot of points being pulled off the road into the various groups. Like there's, for example, if I just press number 1 again, we've got 401 is being pulled out at this location. So we're actually using 400 odd there. We can see 125 is being used at that point there, 74 being used there, and 54 there. This will be food. Actually, do food use it? I'm not sure if food uses it. It's certainly going to be ammunition, fuel, things like that. So anything that's sort of like a consumable will be then pulled through as the units here require it. So the units that are there, like we had in fact, this is going back to the start of the turn. So the unit that was there, this one here, for example, will have had, it would have been asking for some fuel, ammunition. As you can see there, this is actually where we did run out of ammunition. We've got 90 ammunitions of an ideal 252. So there's a lot that has to be pushed forward to actually get this one to then go and work with the actual with the ammunition. Food, I think, just goes automatically. So food just is not part of what happens. So you can still keep, as long as you've got a road network, the food will still get through, but nothing else will. So in this case, ammunition is really struggling at that location. If you have a look at ammunition, we've got like a, and we'll probably find that pretty much everywhere. Ammunition is fine there. Ammunition is very, very poor here. It's going to take multiple turns for them to get on top of their ammunition. So what we'll do is let's just go back into the workshop again and just get a little bit more ammunition. I won't get too much.
Sir. Roger that, sir.
Once we get the factory, we won't have to think too much about the ammunition. But that's but the ammunition is what's drawing the. So when we have a look at the usage, we're sucking a lot through the pull points along that road, more than what's has been allocated along that one. So this is the actual usage of the logistics. I hope that makes sense. It's probably a little bit. It's not something that's easy to actually grasp, like with the way it's sort of been set up. So Boland's saying, yeah, it's mostly about long distance and high volume with trains. Fuel is usually secondary later. Yeah, with the trains have got a much better capacity for distance, and so we end up with a rust factor. And we'll see this actually, if I end the turn, we'll then sort of start to see it. But I'll just go back. Current points, I do like to have this one on, just so I can see if we've got a potential issue. But now that we've actually sorted this out, we're going to see a very healthy number coming back up into this particular city. And this city will then also be requiring goods from the capital. So it will also drain what it requires. So logistics will now fall into a whole big wide range of different requirements. And again, we don't have to really be, I'll try to explain it, but we don't have to really understand it, as long as we can see that the points are healthy going into a location. When we're attacking like this, we're going to see very, very low numbers of current points because we are draining so much ammunition and fuel into our fighting force. You want to, before you do a major attack, you want to make sure that these numbers are healthy before you start attacking. So anyway, let's go and, how do we go with the replacement troops? Yeah, we've got just enough over the top there. Lost a couple of those. I'll just leave that one where that is, and we'll end our turn. So this will be the next target that we'll use the. Oh, I've meant to get another armoured car group. Look at it this turn. I want to have 3 different armoured cars, at least. So they're now moving into where we did actually have areas. So the next group across is now encroaching. New conceit cost. This is crisis of egotism. We won't worry about that one. Conquest of Squires Devon Mounts. We've now got this new zone. Ollie Sanders is retiring and no longer be available in your reserve pool. So he's gone from the reserve pool. Civilization level has reached level 2. Here we go. So the only fate pack on tech levels in through there, but civilization level is the important one. This is where we can get more bureaucratic points, and that's really, really critical. We've got travelling teachers. This is great. Propaganda assistant. There's another one. We found some intact GR recon buggies. Well, why this is good is I can actually now put it with the other group, and that will stabilise them a little bit more. Or I can use them separately. I've got a choice here. Probably use them separately for the recon value because the recon is very, very high. Yep, so that's actually okay. All right, that's cool. That's very, very cool. So we're expanding. We don't know. I don't think we've got unrest in Devon Mount at 60 points. So we need to suppress the what's happening in Devon Mount. And so we've got another group that's now coming across this border and come in very, very close to where Devon Mount actually is. These are fanatics. These will be religious. Yeah, culture unknown. But if they're fanatical groups in through here, and we're seeing that they're not very powerful, these will be easy-ish for us to then go and kill off. And there's their There's the Belhurs, which is their city. What else do we know? This is Darkshire, which is a minor regime as well. That's a territory. When you see the word territory, it means that it's not going to have anything of value. It's a bit like these mutants. The mutants are just annoying, so we need to kill them off. These are very weak. 15 and 7, so terrible. And against heart attacks, they're 7 and 7. So this is why even just armoured cars are going to be able to do the job here. Just go back to movement and start to sort of move these things up. So you can see there the numbers that are coming through, 122. So this is what's left of those 1,000 points that we ended up having. Let's just have a quick look again at the initial points. So we've got 1,800, but in reality, most of that's being drained away through other requirements. And to see what actually is draining that one, so at the end of the day, we've got minimal points now coming back into this other region. But if we go back into the Supreme HQ, in through this other side, we can now start to sort of see how it's performing. And so it goes through these different, this is the order that it tries to do things. So there was 591 requests from the other zones. So they made like a request for deliveries to go and feed or whatever it is that we have to do with that particular city. So that's the city itself into the other zone has requested like a fair bit. And so 591 or nearly 600 has gone into that. Then we actually had like a lot requested from the units. Now we didn't get all of it out there. So they requested 1,600. We delivered at 1,100. That will most likely be ammunition again. So we've got ammunition. Metals have gone down because of building. Food is going down as well. It's still okay. It's still healthy. Everything else is looking pretty good there. From the zone back into the SHQ, like this is actually often just things that we're like drawing in the various like goods coming back in from these mining operations. So that one often doesn't really kick in at all. Like it tends to sort of be, it tends to just do what it has to do. So that's actually okay. And then we've got replacements. So we didn't get all of the replacements out, and we can see there that replacements delivered 18, replacements requested were 22. So there's 4 missing. Replacements returned to the SHQ were 2, and replacements offered for return were 2 as well. So there was so we didn't quite. So with what we ended up having there, replacement troops, we've still got 600 there and 200 there. So that's all okay. What it will be the that first attack that we did, where there's where we ended up with a group of like these groups in here look like they're actually their replacements. They got everything that they needed from the SHQ. That one got replacement, but was missing the ammunition. But the SHQ was missing the items, so it didn't have enough ammunition that turn to actually give to them. The group that's up in through here as well was actually trying to get replacements but couldn't have them, and the SHQ is missing those items as well. So we don't actually have, in fact, sorry, that's to do with the ammo back in through there. So the replacements in through here, we just didn't have that type, whatever they're looking for. I think there's another one in here as well. Yeah, this one here. Again, looking for replacements, just can't actually grab them at this stage, and also have the others missing. So we now actually have an extended area back out. There's also another thing also with this one, which is bottlenecks. And what this will do is it'll show you where there's pressure on a road. And if it goes black at any point along the road, if I just press number 1, if it goes black, it means that it's actually has then struggling at that point. I tend to find it can be a little bit misleading, but this is where we've got like we're using all of the capacity here with the red to sort of move that along that road. So it really is running at full capacity at the moment. That will dissipate a little bit as Devon Mount's like a truck station comes on stream. So, and this is actually not government controlled. This is controlled by the population, I think, in there. But I find current points it allows me to sort of see. In fact, you can see there that's the benefit of the truck station from Devon Mount. Those extra numbers in that way, and then we've just got the lowish numbers this way. So that's sort of what's happening in through there. Let's go back and press number 1. So these fanatics, they've got an area there which are going to be hard to break through. but they should be having most of their forces back out through here anyway. We could bypass it and go back in around this way if we wanted to, but we do have a road that at least we could push along the road if we needed to. These are not going to be anywhere near as difficult as that last group. Our forces now go all the way up into here, into this other wasteland. So we're seeing a fair way up. Whatever's up here will push this border back. Again, it doesn't matter. When we have a look at the actual what's going on, this is why I like the mod that I've got that shows these icons, because I can see that's a very, very defendable ridge that goes along that spot there. So even just holding that, unless we find something of value up this way, I'm actually pretty happy with what we've got through there. And building a road through there is very expensive, so I don't really want to be doing that either. So we've got the roads. There's another road that goes off that way, but in reality it's not going to do anything. I'll just go and press T and just go back into this one, pull points off, and just block that one completely because we don't need it. And really we've only got the one road that sort of extends back up this way as well. So everything else is going up. Metals is going down because of what we were building. Let's go back up into here. So we're back here again, and I really want to get these up to start to put pressure up this way, and I want another group of those as well. Now, what do we need? We've got 219 essentially, and it's whatever the smallest number is. 209 is the smallest number that we have along here. So to get, even though we've got 231 logistics showing there, because it's got like a bounce back ability, to build anything out there, we've got to go through the lowest amount. So if we go even to current points, oh sorry, that is current points. Use points are sort of what we're actually using, but current points, if I build something out here that chews up all of the space, and I want to get another armoured car group, so I'm going to go and in fact also what I want to do is bring in the other armoured car, the other Galactic Republic armoured car, to also be on the map. So let's go and build one out here first. So I'm just going to go into this other side, going to go across into raise formation, and you can see they're only getting 73%. So what it requires is, it requires 285 logistics, but the maximum I can get to that point is 209. So that's not really what we want. So we're just going to go back and cancel. So 285, I can build it there, or I can still build it back in this other location. So let's just go and build it there again. So I built it there because I had the logistics at that stage to go and build. So we'll just go into the raise formation, and now we have 100% because we've got everything we required. We needed 285. We've got 378. It says the items are only 59%, but the items essentially, I don't know what they require there. The items are saying 59%, but we've got everything we need. It says 59. Hang on, let's just go back. We can build 100%. It may be because of the kickback that we get, but I can't think of what it actually is. We've got enough. That's fine. That's fine. Where's the ammunition? Yeah, ammunition. No, ammunition is more. We need more ammunition. I'll just go back and cancel that. So it means we're going to come in with low ammunition. Yeah, not enough ammo. That's what it is. So we'll still be able to build them, but the ammunition would be low. In fact, let's just do it so you can sort of see the difference. These guys here will be, their ammunition is fine and their fuel is low. So they've actually just moved their fuel off. If we go back into this location and go into raise formation, so it's going to be wanting to refuel as we go. So if we just go back across again, independent battalion of buggies. So I've got those in through there. We'll raise that formation. So we can still build the full formation. Oh, actually, no, I didn't build all of them. So it did require the ammunition to go and build those. So at this stage, we're now out of ammunition essentially. So we'll have to go and, when did we get the ammo area? We go back to assets. Let's just finish the high command. Yeah, one turn left on the ammo factory. I'll just go back and just get a little bit more ammunition here.
Yes, sir.
Just produce that. Click on OK. And so now to replenish this group, yeah, so we didn't actually build all of them. So the ammunition it'll have all the ammunition that it requires. There's only 20 rovers rather than the 50 rovers, and so in this case they're not quite where they need to be. So if we just go in and go to replacement troops, and then go back down to buggies, you can see we need 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. I'll just leave it at that. I might just get one. No, I'll just leave it purely at that. So that's now got, the buggies are now part of the SHQ. They'll be delivered to this group. I can't move off with that one just yet, so it's going to sit there. The SHQ has now got the extra buggies because we've now got the ammunition. It will then move them out, and then next turn we can then move off again with that particular group. So because I only had 2 there, I could have actually built it up there and then let the logistics move the others up to that location. Would have given me more of a move to then move this one off. Now we're going to be coming back, potentially red will probably be up this way. I'm thinking of actually attaching these to the red group, but I think I'll just keep it where it is. I think I'll still just keep this one again. Interesting, we've got a big defensive line through here. We really have to attack through the south where it's all open. Otherwise we're going to get caught in this location, unless we can do a surprise and capture the mountains, but then we're not going to have logistics across those mountains. So this is where the mountains become a major problem. Yes, we've got that one through there. Let's just we'll keep these sort of moving along. I want to kill these off with buggies ultimately. We still have the cards as well, so the strat cards. If we go back into zones, we do actually have the Phantasma. So we'll go and grab this one. And this is being executed at Deep Cron. We don't know exactly where it'll end up being. So it's being secured and manned. So that's now also been allocated. The Travelling Teachers is a good one. What this one does is it builds a school in a zone. And if we have a look back at this, let's have a look and see what's going on. Okay, we've got a whole lot of decisions. We'll come back to that one in just a minute. But the at Deep Cron, at Devon Mount, let's have a look and see what Devon Mount actually is. So Devon Mount has got this. As we go through all the different things, it's a small population, like it's 48,000, which is actually not too bad. It is losing a lot of population at this stage. Next level is 50,000 to then go from a small town to city level 3. This is the population through here, and so the private jobs. So the population 48,600. Private funds are coming up. Private food. We need to get food in there. Food will drop, although they'll start to make their own food fairly soon. Income is very low. Service tax, income tax, and sales tax, they're really not doing much there just yet. Next, they want to build a scout station. So this will actually, this will be the private economy. We can see what they're going to be building. We should actually look to see what our city is trying to do as well. And this next one they're trying to build is a library. That's good. And so this is going to give us a few bonuses with, again, with civilization. And so we want to do the same thing in through here. Like this one, if you have a look at ours, we've got 123,000 at Deep Cron. But at Devon Mount, we've got nearly 50,000. Now the workers, we don't have 0 at this stage because we haven't got anything built. We haven't got anything we can build here really, but we will be wanting to build with what we have. We do have industry, so if we have a look at the actual assets they've got, again, it's badly damaged. So the light industry is badly damaged. The transport hub is also badly damaged. I think what I could do here is either destroy this or take it over. It's going to cost me a fair bit to take it over. So I could actually disband this one. It's so disbanding a single level of the asset, recuperate some items from this private, then you lose population happiness. Now, population happiness back at Devon Mount is low anyway. So it's pretty low, and it's going to stay low for a long period of time. So we have to get the happiness up, but I need my own truck station here. I don't want theirs there because we're going to need the truck station to take this out. So we'll go back to Devon Mount. I'll go back to the assets. Transport hub, if it's privately run, we only get a portion of the truck assets, so I need it gone. So I'm going to disband that. So disbanding results in recovery of 167 private credits. Asset was completely disbanded and removed. Population happiness dropped by 3 points. Doesn't matter at this stage because we're really going to be managing a rebellious population for quite some period of time, particularly given their culture. because they were warmongers. This is going to be a long period of trying to settle them into and to get them acclimatised to where we are. We're going to need to keep a large militia force or garrison force at this location just to suppress the population. And we will be killing a lot of population because we're playing autocratically. It's not going to be a happy time for the population at Devon Mount. We're going to be it's going to be ruled with an iron fist. So we've only got light industry and the dome farm. So the dome farm will end up feeding them, which is not really a problem. It is, our water is still actually okay, which is fine. So we're getting our water levels up. We haven't found any water in this location at all. Deep Cron Empire, yep, sorry, that's the empire itself. So Devon Mount. So low happiness. So it's 30, so loyalty is only 35. So the lower the loyalty, the more chance things will turn sour in case of unrest. Furthermore, it impacts your recruitment efforts. So we're not going to be able to recruit here for a long time. There's no hunger at this location because we do actually, they are making their own food. And the casualties won't really matter at this point in time. It's just if we start to build units, it's what they think. Now, we've actually been building units here, for example, but the casualties that we're getting are not really enough to impact the loyalty all that much just yet. A little bit, but not a lot. If you just go back up into here. This is worker happiness. We don't know just yet. Barbaric. Now, this is going to be the quality of life. We want to start to build this up slowly over time. This is their cultural adaptation. Now, we can see there that these are raiders. Essentially, their subculture is warmongers. It's going to be hard to get them to come across to our side. And so these are Devon Mount Tench is the actual culture name. Tradition they've got is 36. So negative score means that culture is not very traditional. Positive score means that they are more traditional. Tradition influences the speed of cultural adjustment. The fertility is just 0. This negative score, again, is not fertile. Positive means that they are more fertile. So 0 is fine. Aggression, they've got high aggression, impacts your chance of success when playing peace, client or protectorate stratagems, as well as their general diplomatic behaviour. So their behaviour is to be aggressive, that's what they do. And so their subculture is raiders, so that's actually all it really is in through there. And so we have problems in through this other side. This is the level of unrest is very, very high. So the unrest diminished by 3 points due to time and diminished with 1 point due to 700 troops. The more troops we have garrisoning the city, the more that will then reduce. And also there's this as well. This is actually danger levels. So it increased with 10 points due to the presence of an enemy near the assets of the city or the zone, which is this group in here. So they're actually putting pressure on the city, which is also then going to make our job harder. So unfortunately, these guys are now the next problem that we have to now go and deal with. We've got an agreement with these, so we don't have to do anything else in there. So we can just leave them where they are. But this is now causing issues in Devon Mount, this area through here. So then we've got, this is the logistical points are used to transfer items between zones. So we've got 160 truck points. That's now gone. So what we need to now go and do is go back into, at the moment we'll now just be using purely the truck points from Deep Cron, which will be okay, but we definitely want to go back to construction now and go to logistics and build ourselves just a basic truck station. So we'll get that one built there. So we'll get this one established. This will give us, instead of 160 points, we'll end up with 800. So we'll go that way. So we're definitely going to be wanting to do that in nearly every place that we go to. And we also want to play the teachers here because this is still a substantial population. And if we can bring the education up, that's just one more little thing that will help them. So again, if we have a look at the small town, the population, next is the scout station. So this is an asset level. Yeah, so the scout station will be like a military type thing, which will actually then help them again with their happiness. So let's go back to our cards. And we'll play this one at Deep Cron. Is that the right one? Hang on. Just let me have a look. Devon Mount is where we want that to be. So we'll just go back to the strat cards. Target is going to be Devon Mount. And so we'll just go back to the stratagem itself. And so we're just going to execute that stratagem. So they've constructed a new private school asset. They're happy to have, so that's now been placed in that particular location. And so what they'll then start to do is in Devon Mount, in this level through here, they actually, if we have a look at the assets, they now have a school. But next turn, that's going to then start to to bring across the happiness of the population, and also a lot of different aspects in here with the barbarism levels. So we should start to see education points go up, security points if they do build that scout station will go up as well. So the more money they have, the better. With what we do want to have with everything that's going on, we'll let that just develop for a little bit of time. But we have to now put somebody in charge of this particular city. So let's go back to our decisions. Instant with a joke. Now this guy is the commander of the second line. He's not really all that important. But I'm still going to thinking of just ignoring him. Unrest will go up. Bit of an incident, a formal meeting with religious leaders in Devon Mount. Made a faux pas. I meant no harm. The thought to lighten the spirit with a joke. Support leaders' actions. We don't want the unrest going up really. But his relation with this is almost, he's almost sort of a problem, or he is a problem. I think I'm just going to have to go and ignore his actions. So our heart profile loses 3 points, basically. Now we can get a new model, a new organisation here. And I've got numerous things I want to be doing. Numerous things. I want to get my taxation under control. That would be easier. Having said that, we're not really losing much money each turn. So the Interior Council would help in that regard. We've also got good people in anyway. The Foreign Affairs Council would be if we wanted to play more diplomatically, which I don't want to be doing, so I don't need to worry about that one. That one's a bit of a possibility. That one's not. The Secret Service Council. I'm really tempted to grab this one now, and the reason I'm tempted to get it is to try to locate where that water is. Because we can then send spies out across the globe, essentially, to try to find why is he still so terrible. He's only a cap 2. Let's look at his salaries again. He's already got the 1. Well, it's only 1 extra credit, so I'll do that. And we'll just go confirm that. The soldier's salary we have to be a bit careful of. We'll just confirm those. Yeah, it's not doing much. His relationship with us. She's only got a natural point of 30, which is terrible. He's going to be a problem. So we're going to have rebellions with different people. So the Interior Council for Taxation, Staff Council will then look after the people essentially, and we'll get better people with that one. But the Secret Service I'm interested in. The Model Design Council I'm also interested in. But having said that, I'm thinking Secret Service initially. So what we need here is we need somebody that's in our group that's going to be actually good at doing these things. And what we can go and if we look at the leaders that we have, we've got some very, very high. This is their natural relation point, which is he's the only real issue. We've got a couple of others that are a bit of a problem. Sandra's in the reserves. She's great for looking after. She's actually be better looking after our main city. So what I might do is I might swap a few of these guys around. So Teresa, what's Teresa's skill set like? Actually, hers is good as well. I'll keep her where she is. She doesn't have a great capability, but she is performing in her role as governor of Deep Cron. So I'll move Sandra out to be the other governor. This advisor as well. What's he got? If you look at his stats. Looking for covert ops. But he is, again, good with command. And he's a cap 3. Very intelligent. If we can start to sort of see who would be suitable for different roles. So if we have a look at for example, we've got key information through there. We can start to look at different things like their actual loyalty is in there. That's their natural relation point with that being so low, these are going to come backwards, unfortunately. There's nothing we can do about that. So they're going to have to go at some stage. Seniority, yeah, technical ratings back and through there. Don't really need to worry about that one so much. Command ratings for combat. We won't worry about that with what they've got in the key information stats. We've got their war strength, essentially we can see who's sort of got like different things like charisma, strength in through here as well. But that's not really important. The technical skills really are. These are where we start to. There may be actually late leader, militia chief, personality, non-group skills back and through here as well. These are the actual specific skills. Command skills. We want covert ops. Yeah, so Connor in through here is actually, at the moment, is the best for covert ops. He's a Cap 4. The Supreme Command Council will become less important over time as we bring these other councils in. He's the only one with sort of skills in that regard. Let's just come back out for that one. Let's go back to the map and just go back to the strat cards, because we do actually have, we can recruit some juniors. So we've got a few of those. We've got military there for 11. We've got mercs as well. So these are recruiter mercenary, probably at least moderately skilled in the art of war. So if we could get somebody that's actually good with, like if we can find someone that's good with covert ops, and this is where a merc may be okay. This will chew up a portion of what we have. Let's go and bring one of these in.
Affirmative.
And have a look and see what we end up with there. So this is Elsa. Now she's only a Cap 2. And she's got operational command, so she's actually great in charge of a like a group, like an infantry group or something. Well, we have Diesel's a Cap 3 in charge of the 3rd machine gun. Or do we bring back Prudence? She's a Cap 4, and swap her over. See, she's somebody that will learn very, very quickly. Or do we just go and grab one more unit? If we just go and bring, say, a junior in. Although this military as well. Actually, no, I'll bring a junior in because they can be a bit more all over the place.
Affirmative.
Let's see what we end up with there. So we now got page 2. He's a Cap 3. Actually, that's pretty cool. His natural relation point, though, is only 19, which is terrible. But that will change, I guess, as we bring things in. So he's actually a Cap 3 with pretty good, like he's got agriculture, that's all he's really got there. Good intelligence. No covert ops. Well, God, if we do the shuffle around, we've then got Connor back in through this other side. He was good across the board. God, he's actually got a lot of good stuff in here. But his covert ops, I think I'm going to have to leave him where he is, which unfortunately means that we're then sort of stuck with more of somebody that's more got the ability to change, and I'm thinking that's going to have to be Prudence. So Prudence, I think we're going to have to bring in as our main spy, and we can then just do a reshuffle at that point. So let's go back up. So that's sort of now got them under control, because a lot of these other cards or these other things will be what we're going to then go and do. So I'm thinking we go Secret Service Council, just so we can start to see what our targets need to be.
Affirmative.
So we'll go that way. And Economic Council task priorities back in through here. So this is the, again, we don't have to change this. The prospecting is still super, super important. So I'm just going to go no changes.
Aye, aye, sir.
Then we've got the demagogue in Devon Mount. So there's word of a demagogue active in the slums. He's ranting against our reign and convincing people that they should emigrate or join the free folk. It's causing unrest. Find the demagogue and arrest him. Now this has got, we've got a 92. We don't actually we need to get a governor. This is where we have the two different ones that just came in. Now suitability, Sandra is the one that's more suitable at Cap 3 with all of this stuff. So she has got a good chance to get this place working fairly well. She's got high charisma as well, which means that she can then apply her skill set. Elsa is poor with charisma, poor with intelligence. She's much more suited to not doing this. So we're going to appoint Sandra to be the governor. So her relation has improved by 11 points because she's been given this high level. And we actually can make Devon Mount into a big town now as well. Now, when we do this, this is going to then attract population, but also attract unhappiness. And so until we get things under control, I don't want to do that with Devon Mount. So Devon Mount is a bit of a problem. We'll do an Ask Me Later. So ominous door, a sealed door in Deepcron. This is actually in our capital. So in the deep tunnels below Deepcron, we've found pristine, intact corridors of a pre-cataclysmic facility. They led us to a sealed door marked indefinite quarantine. What do you recommend? We can either just open the door with +3 heart and see what it actually is. We can study the situation first, where we have they have a difficulty of 100 plus a 1d50 versus the science roll of 1d100 +7, which is not great odds. So you need to study it first, so study the situation. Now that's probably going to fail. Make sure the door stays closed for now. This is actually something where we basically just get enforcement goes up or destroy the whole tunnel. We don't know what it is, so we're going to go see. And so we'll wait until we actually have got a better ability to be able to do something with that door. So that's something we can always go and target now. The demagogue in Devon Mount. So this is, so we now can come back to this one. We now actually have the governor here. And so the governor calculation should be better. We could try to convince the population that he's a fraud. Now this is actually going to annoy her. She's already very, very high. Oratory roll, +18. And there's a difficult, complex calculation there. The unrest cost. The unrest could be anything. Meritocracy goes up if we do that one. If we try to find it, we have 2d100. So it says an average 92 there, but we have 20 that we rolled on 1d100, and then we have to roll another one and still beat 2 of them. So that's also a problem, and we also then piss this one off. I don't want the unrest going up, so I'm going to try to convince the population, but I did need her in this role. She doesn't want to do it. So she has got oratory as 0 at this stage. But she's going to have to get better and better and better at this. One thing we can have a quick look at, is there any way that we can actually go with our cards back to leaders? We've got a bonus, Shadow Spy, Shadow Diplomat, Medal of Merit, Propaganda. So this is a fate stratagem normally executed by your secretary. Effects when played, gives the selected leader a 10 bonus on his or her charisma-based rolls. If you use the right words, everyone will accept what you propose. Now, I don't want to waste it on just a governor, so I think I'll actually leave that one. It's going to cost me 1 fate point as well, so I'll just leave that one where it is. We won't worry about that one. So that's something we could have had a look at. Let's just go back to our decisions. So we have diplomatic decisions as well. Threat of war. We'll come back to that one in just a second. So we're going to convince the population he's a fraud, hopefully. So we're unfortunately rolling this 1d100 versus a difficult calculation through there, where the average is going to be, well, it says 145, but let's just keep on going for it anyway. So it's a oratory roll of Baker is 95 versus, so that was the roll, versus difficulty at 149. Critical failure. Someone managed to insult the people even more. So we end up with an unrest has increased by 40%, which is not what we wanted. A lot of them have left now to join the Free Folk, and everyone else went up except for Sandra went down. She wasn't wanting to do that anyway. So that's now a problem. So Devon Mount is now going to become even more of an issue. And so threat of war. So the chairman through here of Darkshire has contacted us with his forces ready and willing to invade us. He noted that we are reasonable if we make a small payment of 800 credits. And the answer is a resounding no, we will not. He's only a minor raider. He's a raider as well. But he will then start to come forward. So now they are in the top left corner, which we don't have to worry about. So we're just going to go, no, we're not.
Affirmative.
And FIST profile increased 3% through there. We'll just go click on OK. They're going to declare war. And what that's going to mean is we're going to need to defend that top border. So if we just go back to the decisions are now done, just go and press number 1. And this is where, so they were here. So Darkshire is there. And we've only got like one little section there, so they're going to have to come into this region and start to move. This is actually all this territory that we don't have to worry about. That's the border there, and then this is the religious group. So all we need to do is just have some of these forces along this very, very thin line here to protect it. So we don't need much up that way. These guys are going to ultimately be moving out to there's the other Galactic Republic one that we picked up as well. So we've actually picked up that Galactic Republic force, a bit like this one here. I can combine those if I wanted to, but I think I'll actually keep them as... Actually, no, sorry, it's this one here. That's the GR1. There's another GR1 there. So they'll actually sort of move out and be able to then sort of at least check things out. We might even move that one of these up to the north. But really what we need to now do is to come back into this location and just have like a lot of different troops sitting on top there. One thing we don't want to have is we'll actually move this one up. We'll get red to now move across because we're going to have this one under control. We'll get red to move up against the border of this group. In fact, we probably need to move everything up this way. Orange will take to the north because they're going to have the abilities. This one here is just going to have to sit inside the hills. Put pressure on. You can see there we didn't quite get everything we needed from this particular group. If we go back to the GR Vortex, its ammunition didn't get to it. Red again. Just put pressure in. I'm thinking I'm going to have to keep this one back because these just I could do strategic movement. It's on the road, and I can actually move these along the roads. It doesn't have quite. It can go this way, but not the other way. Well, in that case, I might as well move it up this way. Let's go back to normal movement. Get the orange up again. I don't want it inside the city where there's going to be potential for problems. Just keep a couple of those units in there. Now these are militia forces. I can make them into garrisons essentially with a G on it. I forget what it is to change that, the designation, but I won't worry too much about it. Just move these up and get these runs ready because this will be the next target, I think, for us. And then that's going to give us like a big section once we clear out these mutants as well. So the poor old mutants are going to suffer here, and then that will then free up these militias to then sort of sit at other areas. What's that there? This is non-aligned forces. This is the wild frontier. Yep. So we've got different groups in through here as well. Not at war with these. We don't have any sort of relationship. So if we do push the border back, if I move up this way, it's going to put pressure on this road, and they should move back out again, which would actually be okay. We don't need to go after them. These are just fanatics again. There's going to be a lot of them. They're just going to be fairly weak. Okay, so I'll end the turn. I'll just play one more turn. I have run out of time really, so I'm going to have to get going. So Titus Aurelius is saying, I love Shadow Empire, but logistics and road stuff always gives me a huge headache. I'll upgrade the logistics hubs and make paved roads, and yet my supply always gets strangled. We'll always have a look to see where it starts to drain off. And with that, again, if I press the T key and go back into traffic signs mode, I can then sort of see what's going on. So in the truck station from back in here, we've got all these logistical points. And what they then do is it's the sent ones you probably need to look at. We've used 10 action points of 105 action points to move across to the southeast. Let's go to the, we're looking to go up in this direction, which is the northwest. So so we end up moving. We sent 1,557 truck points using 10 action points in that direction. See how there's also 600 points were also moved back in that direction? That's like a bounce back, but let's just focus on the main one. So we just go this way here. So if I just go and have a look at that one, that's 10, goes into this one. It's moving it again to the northwest, so 600 odd, sorry, this one here. These were, if I just focus on these major ones, 20 points. So it goes 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, sorry, was it 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. At that point, we should be pretty much, it's now going to be moving off to the northeast. And so we're now going over, we received the 100 points, the action points into there. We're now going beyond the action points, so we're now using more than what we actually have. We don't have any extensions on this one as well, and we have some other breaks that did come off it, which impact the bounce backs, but you don't have to worry about that initially. So we're now going to be using more points. So we received 1422. We're sending 1354 because we've now got more action points than what we're going. If we go back into here, receive 1442, sending 1442. Get to this point here. This is the actual point where we now go over the points we have allocated. We start to lose points. So we end up losing those. This one then comes back in. We received, we've got some pull points are assigned to this hex, but we receive, in fact, what I can do here is I can go logs per source hex. So this is the truck points. We can just look at just purely the truck points that are coming from our capital. And so again, we're using 110. We're now going to 120 again with what we have. So as we move along this road now, we're now 130, 140. By the time we reach 200, we've got nothing coming through. So those 1440 or whatever it was are now down to 900, with it being pulled across into by the time it gets to Devon Mount. So Devon Mount is the actual becomes a problem, which is why we then need to have more trucks at Devon Mount to push things, or we need to shorten the truck route. If we go up that way, we end up saving those points and we end up with full truck points, or we need to build rail. If we build a rail station and build that across to there, then it means we have a lot more action points. We actually use only 3, I think, rather than 10 for the rail. So we end up being able to have rail go a lot further. So that's sort of what's happening through there. It's a bit hard to understand the way it works. We did a fairly big one in this session, I guess, with the logistics. Just sort of trying to cover that one. We did a big, deep one with the combat as well. So we covered a lot of the, I guess, the more highfalutin type aspects of the game. But we'll just sort of see how we go. But we can expect that there'll be an invasion coming through here at some stage. I'm just going to keep these guys back down this way for now. So I've set up that one. I'll just go back to movement again. So I'll just cycle through the different groups. Yeah, they're actually all okay. And they're all okay. So when we get going here, we're going to be able to sort of smash our way through. I would love another tank group in with these different forces, but we're going to be able to just use armoured cars to look after this area of the map, which will be very, very helpful. These are just plugging gaps, which is fine. We're not at war with them. Everything else is looking good there. So we'll just end our turn and just see what we end up with. Darkshire, that was the one that was going to be moving. This one's moving across a defined border, so I'm not really worried about that one. They're Confederates, so they're going to be loyal, and they're not likely to go back on their word. Okay, well, there we go, and we found it at Devon Mount. Now, is this where it's going to get dangerous for us, or is it on the nice side of those mountain ranges? So we'll find out from that one. Advancing troops found a sealed silo, 23 rare metals which have been secured. So that's in Devon Mount, which is up in here. So we're looking for the road. Actually, we'll just go with low leader relations. We'll just go and press number 1. And where is it? There it is there. That's actually good. This is also within 6 of Devon Mount. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, essentially. They haven't come through here yet. That is now actually, that's Darkshire. It's all Darkshire. Darkshire has actually moved. They may be at war with each other. Iron State and Darkshire. Well, in that case, we could start to see problems coming through because they're going to also, Darkshire has declared war on us. So we can start to see them come down this way fairly quickly, I would think. They won't go into Iron unless they've got a war with Iron State as well. We don't know much about Darkshire. We need to find, like, this is great that we've now found another water location, and so we'll be wanting to control this as well at some point. But this is actually going very, very well for us. Food is going backwards slightly. Oil, we're going to have to sort of ramp up again at some point. Ammunition is still a major, major problem. That's going up, that's going down. We need to keep on building things, so building will be an issue, like with all the stuff happening in through here. We'll just keep things sort of thumping along. I won't get any more replacements. Just press number 1. These have now all been filled up. And we'll now move off with these groups. So we're now getting good recon back into here. We have also the other recon ability here. So I'll move this one. I want to move this one to the north to start to sort of to spot things up this way. And this one as well, like, you know, where are the mutants? Like, they will actually have like a location that is sort of theirs. And this is non-aligned forces, so these will just be rebels. We'll just sort of watch what happens. This one, we don't have enough cars in this to be able to push the borders back. This one does. I've left that open, a bit too open. Let's just move this one back in this way. So we're not at war with these guys. Like, these are, this is merely a territory. So but we will be at war. We need to destroy these, and we can destroy them just with the armoured cars. I'll just use the 2 of them and then some other forces. This one's just sort of wandering around, not really doing too much. In terms of our borders, what I'm going to do here is I'm happy enough with the border split the way it is this way, but I don't need it sneaking down this way. So I'm just going to go and press Z, and so if I go this way and if I just right click, is that the way we do it? I forget how to do it. We're doing it for deep cron. Yeah, so I can push them back and just push that up to maybe, we'll just go a little bit further up. So I'm just going to push this border up a little bit this way, and so that can be the border of Devon Mount. And so we'll just so I'm just going back essentially on what we're doing there, and just resettling these borders with what we've got there. That's all good where that is, so we can expect to start to see this one come through with its declaration of war. We'll probably start the next session. These have actually now moved back, which we thought they would as we started to threaten this zone. They've moved back away. We've just taken Kuna, which is good. And they're moving, we're not at war with them, but they're moving back up along the road, which is fine. That's all good. Move them across. Actually, I'll leave it here for the next session so that we sort of don't go too far. Here's the shark saying, wow, unit icons have improved so much since the release of the game. The game has improved out of sight with what it does do, and you know, the one thing, again, the one thing I really, really hope comes in at some point soonish will be the naval units. Just without those, it feels incomplete for me. So yeah, we need to get higher taxes. Our taxes are going back, so we do need to get a hold of that. But we also need to use the spies. I think I'll leave it here because in the next, we've got a lot of reshuffling to do, and I think I prefer to do that with a fresh session rather than sort of going through and starting to try to do that one right now. There's a lot to consider, a lot of different things happening. But you can see through there the actual logistics we've got along this road is actually healthy, which is good. So there's no spots in there where it drops to 0. So we don't have any real issues with anything that's coming along in that particular regard. We've still got a fair bit going out this way to take on the mutants, which is actually good. And ultimately, this road will probably end up being the road that we end up making good use of. Actually, no, we won't need to. If we just go even straight up from here, straight up to Devon Mount, and then we've got the road that then goes to across this mountain range here. Roads across mountains are worth their weight in gold. It costs a fortune to build a road across a mountain. So having that road there, right there, going through those low mountains, is really, really valuable. So getting hold of that one right now is great. We've got a lot of decisions to make. So we've got policy speeches, organisation decisions as well. Diseased employees should get help. We'll come back to all of these. The Secret Service Council, we'll have to do a deep dive next time about that one. We've got to then give the governor the orders for what to do with the city there. This is Sandra. Actually, we're lucky there. I thought we were going to definitely get a rebellion, but she's been able to suppress that a little bit. And then diplomacy, nomad traders offer ammunitions. And so this is, they're offering for us to buy ammunitions for credits, which is actually good because it means we don't have to use our resources to do that. Yeah, I mean, we'll have a look at that as well in the next session. But there's a bit going on, which is great. So I was expecting to have a rebellion at Devon Mount that would have to suppress, but everything's looking very, very good there. Just an eye on Hellcat saying you want rail in between cities. Yes, we do. With railheads, yes. So that will be ultimately what we end up doing. Will be to get a rail network, probably along that location through there and then up. Because we've got to go through minimal. It's all low sand dunes here. Actually, I should show you that before we go, just so that you're aware. If I press the R key, I then go into road building, and you can see through here to build a dirt road is industrial points, 20 industrial points per hex, but that's just the base cost. It's not the actual cost. So to demolish it is 5 industrial points. To build rail is 30 industrial points plus 30 metal per hex. If I just go to the dirt road and look at building it, say from example, so if I go from there up, you can see that to build that road there, it's not costing me 20, it's costing me 40. If I go and start there, for example, if I just go and right click, oh damn, I just did it, and I haven't saved this yet. Look, we were going to do it anyway. The industrial points to there, now it's going to cost me 24 to move up through this area. So this is actually fine for me to go and build the road there. I will just go and do this one. The total cost is 96 industrial points. I've got a fair few there. Let's just go and do it. Let's just go straight to Devon Mount. That's going to at least be the road. I was going to do that anyway, but I didn't mean to do it where it was. This is now going to completely change what we want to do with our road network. For example, I don't really need this road network operating in between there anymore. So I'm going to go back to my traffic signals, now that I've done this, and go into here and allow everything to go that way. I'm going to now block, I've got 90% blocked off there. I can block everything off that way and just have it all going up to the north, which is sort of what I want. So I'll just go back and reset these. Pull points are fine there. Again, just in case, I wish that by default we could have them turned off. I'm going to block everything off that way. I'm going to go back to this one and block everything off this way. Again, pull points accepted, which means that nothing's going to go to this hex. This hex has got nothing of value there, except that we will end up with a mine there. So that will be okay. We've got another mine through there. We've got a lot of different mines that we can set up if we needed to. But we're going to, at this location, most of the pull points now are going to go straight up this road. We don't need them along this road anymore. So we're just allowing pull points out this way. We do have some pull points that are coming back out this other side. So in reality, this road now becomes a bit superfluous. So if I block all of them there and just go none there, that's going to then mean that this road here gets whatever's left over coming back out this side, but we are blocking everything off that way anyway, so there really shouldn't be much coming back out this road. But ultimately this road, if we take the Jupiter location, we are going to need these roads open, so I'll just leave them where they are. This now also then goes back up and opens this one right up. So going back to this location, I want to make sure that the pull points are pretty much blocked off. I'll maybe allow 90% through, you'll block 90% off so that there's going to be minimal coming back up. But this road will then, if we go back and have a look at the logistics and look at the preview points. So most of those points will now just go straight up to Devonshire, and so they won't be rusting away. We've still got some points moving up along this way because Devonshire is actually moving out things along that road, but we don't want it moving down that way either. So if we go back and look at the pull points here, allow that to happen. And so we don't want to, we want to block them from going back again, I think. So we'll go and do that one, and we'll block all of it that way. That way we push all of the points that are allocated from in here off this in this direction. And we actually have some other truck points coming back through. If we go and look at the logs, there's now 2 truck locations. So we have the truck location from back at home, and then we have the truck location we've just built. So they will then sort of start to now push and do different things at that point as well. So that ultimately is going to be where the points will go. You'll see this road then just sort of pretty much disintegrates because it no longer has anything on it. So we've now got the new road, which will then also give us even more points coming back up this way, which would be nice. So anyway, logistics is, you get used to it pretty fast, I think. You know, that's the current points. That will then change next turn. Anyway, I better save before I start doing too much other stuff. So we'll save this one. This will be, I'll call this one DasO2. This is our second session, really. So, yeah, anyway, that's, thanks for watching, guys. I will have to get going. So actually, Titus is saying, so I would turn all my roads into railroads, or is that not feasible? Well, again, like if we, I'll show you, I've now saved it, so it's now safe for me to quickly go back and have another look. If I press the R key and go to rail, it's costing me a lot more. If I try to build a rail network, if I click on here, so to build that one through there, see how it's cost me, it's not costing me the whatever it said. If I press back to R again, it's not costing me 30 metal. It's costing me, hang on, just go and abort that one. If I just go back into road, rail. So it's costing me to go into a sand dune is actually costing me 90 metal. So I have less, like I get a bit of a kickback on the industrial points, but then if I go to that one as well, it's now costing me 180 metal. If I go this way, it's 270 metal. It's only when I get onto it's 360 metal at that point, and then it starts to become what we expect. So on the plains, not a problem, but on the to go through anything that's tricky. Like if I try to go onto that, look at this. If I go from there, it's 135 industrial points, 270 metal. If I move onto a low mountain, look at the cost there. So 1,500 industrial points now to go from that location back up into the other one. So if I just go and I won't build these, but if I, for example, to build a road network through this area through here, I'll just press number 1. If I go into Devon Mount, and if I wanted to build a rail there, it's better for me to go around it than to go over it. So that one's going to cost me 294 metal. If I go across the mountain, I can't go across the tall mountains. If I go to this one through here, it's 1,400. So rail, yes, rail is great when you can get it, but you need to make sure you've got enough metal. And depending on on the terrain, because we're surrounded by sand dunes, it's going to cost me a lot of metal just to get to home, 612 metal, and I don't have that. I don't have anywhere near that. So that's a problem. Ultimately, to get from Devon Mount across to the other, like if we were building a rail, I'll just keep on pushing the wrong thing there. If we're trying to build it out to the bellhop or whatever it's called, we probably have to go around the top and around to sort of get that one built, because again, taking it through the mountains is just going to make it super expensive. But we do actually have a nice plains location through here for rail. So most of this area is actually great for having a rail, except for the sand dunes. And building it through the sand dunes is going to be expensive, or a little bit expensive with what we end up doing. Anyway, it's pretty cool the way it sort of does work. But we are going to have to do it because everything is going to be coming back to Deep Cron, and Deep Cron is, unfortunately, where it's located. It is located surrounded by these sand dunes, and so we have to deal with that. And that's going to require having a rail network that goes up to Devon Mount and then beyond, essentially. And then we have to protect that rail area. And similarly, once we get to there, we're going to have to then come back down this way as well and go to Jupiter with something. So once we take that, so there's a lot to a lot for us to consider as we sort of move through, but just don't go too far with anything, but look for the planes. And again, that mod that I've built, which you get at coffee.com/DasTactic, that has got the this is where you can see it very clearly. Like that can be hard to see if that wasn't there, telling you that's a high mountain. It could just look like the background. Like it's very hard to pick it without this mod. Yeah, I can't play the game without the mod that I made. So it's at coffee.com to grab that mod that shows you where these locations are, where it can be difficult, sort of immediately. So Griffin Cagle is saying great showing, and only know this game from your coverage, so always a pleasure to see it in action. Yeah, it's a great game. It's really is one of the great games around at the moment. There's complexity with these sorts of things, like with the road building, the logistics, but I don't really have to worry about it too much, because as long as I can see healthy numbers, I don't have to go back and have a look at it. So in this sense, this is actually fine with with where we are now. If we end up in another location, we're going to need to maybe then start to manage it. But quite often with the game, if you understand the basics of what's going on, you can just set up little helpers like this one here to look at the current logistics and think, they're good numbers. I've got good numbers everywhere. So I don't really need to be worried about that. It's all green as well, like all the way through. So there's no issues. When we run into issues, we're going to find that there'll be spots in through here that have got nothing in them, and that means that there's an issue. But it doesn't even mean it's a serious issue. It's just an issue. So anyway, I'm going to let it go there, guys, and we'll come back to it possibly even in a few days' time. So I'm not sure. I may still do another one. I love playing this game. I do want to play some Age of Wonders, but I'm thinking I might end up coming back to this one. Maybe early next week. I'm not sure. Anyway, I'll catch you guys later. Thanks for watching.